Okay, we're live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to OFAC episode 63. Ian is down and out with COVID. He's got a really bad cough, so he said he wouldn't be very pleasant to listen to tonight. So I'll be running the show, but I've been joined by my beautiful angels, Danny and Eddie, and obviously we've got Andy from IconiQ Studios on, and we're going to be talking about his Ali figure that's gone up for pre-order recently. So let's just play.
You are about to listen to Only Fools and Collecting, a podcast for those who like a good moan about figure collecting and don't mind naughty words.
There we go. There might not be that many naughty words tonight because obviously the potty mouth himself isn't with us. So
we do have Eddie though.
Yeah, but I think Eddie mostly swears at John, so John's not here, so he's probably going to.
I can fill that void. I'm quite sure. If you really need it,
he'd probably be a bit more relaxed. Right, so we're going to get into new this fortnight. I've asked the guys, and they also haven't got a lot, so it's basically just a couple of bits that I've got. So it's right.
New this fortnight.
So I'll tell you what I do first is I will thank our sponsor, Backdrops and Bases. Sorry, guys. If you looking for backdrops for your displays, or you want some really cool metal name plaques, hit them up, and they'll do you a really good deal on bits and pieces. So thanks again to Backdrops and Bases. Okay, yeah, so my new this fortnight. I believe you've got one of these figures, Andy, but you can't really do much with it because you're right in the middle of decorating.
Yeah, I literally got to open it and put it back in the... It was like, have you ever got to see a Christmas present early and had to put it away? It was like that.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's beautiful looking. It's absolutely beautiful looking. It looks lovely in a box.
Yes, it's a lovely box as well. It
is actually,
box.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the Hot Toys Classic Suit Spider-Man. I ordered mine from Toys Buying Agent and got him last week. And I bought the Miles as well because I fancied having the two of them together because I thought that'd make a really cool display. So I picked up Miles on one of the Facebook groups for 200, which I thought was a good price.
Yeah.
Basically, the guy, it was all still wrapped and everything, so he didn't call it new because he'd kind of taken it out and looked at it, but it was all still, all the wraps and everything on it. So got him. That was really cool. But I did a bit like you, but not enforced. I decided to keep him, so I got the classic suit and opened them together.
Yeah.
So I did that a couple of days ago and set them up. The backdrop's really cool, but it's quite difficult to take quite a lot of futzing and stuff to kind of get it to get both the scorpion tail out and the stand for Spidey and get it all balanced and everything. But it's worth the effort. It's good to do. A lot of people are going to start screaming at me and going, "Oh, look, why are you posing him like that? You're going to ruin the suit." But I've had Spider-Mans before, and I'm very much the view that I want him in a dynamic pose. I don't want to have Spider-Man just standing there with his arms down by his side. That's I might as well not have him, to be honest. So I'm gonna go with the risk, and if the suit's a bit saggy, then I have used the kettle treatment on them before, and it tends to cinch it back up. But I'm not overly worried about it. I mean, obviously the stands can do a bit of damage, and I think I had, which one did I have? I had the Homecoming one a while back, and there was a little bit of rubbing on there, but again, I'm not bothered. I'm going to enjoy these figures, and this was what I had in mind when I bought them anyway. So quite happy with that. I've actually got I got impatient because I've actually got another one on order, but when I saw Toys Buying Agent had them in stock, I was like, right, okay, I'm going to pick one up from them, and then I'll move the other one on when I get it. I think it's second batch, so should be getting another one of those in. And the other one, I finally got picked up the Durasteel Mando. I'd actually owned this figure once before, but sold him on straight away because I'd kind of decided. I don't know. I can't remember what I was doing, but I decided I didn't want him, and now I've got the chrome one on order. But I keep thinking, actually, I think I like the original look better. And Lee Farncombe was selling this for $160.
Ouch.
Just on all it was missing was the base. And the the pole and the helmet. And I thought
The sand base, you're going to struggle to get one of those, I'm quite sure.
I know. Or the man on the moon base, as Zach likes to call it. Yeah, I know. I haven't got any of those. So I was like, I've got to have that. I've got to have that. So I got that in. Just weathered him up a little bit, and then I thought, you know what, I want to knock up a little backdrop. So that's my effort there. A few bits of plywood, some sand, some paint, done a little Mos Eisley kind of wall there, and printed off some posters and bits and pieces. So quite
I like the posters. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, they're quite cool, and I put them in Photoshop and I kind of sun bleached them and made them look a bit rough. So you got a Mos Eisley, you got a Land Speed, you got the Bunter Eve pod race up by his head there. There's one here by his shoulder that says "Come visit the Sarlacc pit," stuff like that. So they're quite funny. And this at his feet is a wanted poster for Han, because I put on the Facebook page that what if Jabba had hired the Mando to go bring him Han? It might have been a different story. So that's the one. So that's the story there, that he's hunting Han Solo in Mos Eisley at the start of A New Hope. But it's a really cool figure. I stripped the fat suit off. I didn't do a body swap. I couldn't be bothered. I didn't have a Feist into hand, so I just kept the wrists to keep the gauntlets tight, the calf pieces, and a little pair of pants, just because I felt like that should, because I didn't want the belt and stuff to be loose. But obviously the articulation's much better now. So what do you think, guys? You think I've done well with my pickups?
Oh, these are great figures,
both.
Man. I've owned the Mando, and that's a great figure. And then you and guys always make it 10 times better with your weathering and all the body swaps or the messing with the fat suit and everything. So that's a great figure. And then I haven't owned either of the two Spideys, but I've seen the Miles in person, and that's a really impressive looking suit.
Really nice. Yeah.
I think the black suit helps, like it lends to like bunching and stuff with the material things. So
it's a lot less obvious.
Yeah. And the classic suit Spidey is beautiful too. I haven't seen it, but it just looks beautiful in pictures and stuff.
Great. And what I don't get, there's a lot of people complaining about the the head's plastic. But people saying, the webbing on it is more raised than the body.
Yeah.
Well, it's barely noticeable.
Not
it's ridiculous. It doesn't jar at all. And I just think people just get so nitpicky about ridiculous things.
Yeah, it's just different. Because the other heads were indented, right?
Correct.
Instead of being the opposite way.
Which
I think when they were indented, people were complaining about that too. So
I think
can't win either way.
And that's it. And then it becomes, how do you actually, from a production point of view, it becomes how do you actually paint that? Because it's either they've got to be raised or they've got to be indented, or you've got to have somebody manually by hand go each over every single one with no lines, which would be even more ridiculous,
Yes.
I was with you when I saw the original photos. I was a little bit disappointed, but I was like, it's classic Spidey. I'll roll the dice. And I think outside of wrapping it in a piece of material with the print on it, I don't see how they could have done any better. And to match that plastic material with a head sculpt would be difficult as well. So I think they've done it the right way. It's a nice figure. The only other version I'd really like, better than that, would be like a Todd McFarlane Spidey with the big eyes and the more sort of the darker blue and stuff. Awesome. That'd be the ultimate tick the box for me. But that's 90s Spider-Man comic reader to me that has that. But for now, he ticks that box. And the backdrop, just to say as well, it's very NECA. It reminds me a lot of something NECA would produce. Like from a color point of view and from like a texture point of view when you feel it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because I think you were saying, Danny, it's based on a 70s style spider. What was the artist you said it was?
Yeah, I think it's Ditko. It's based off of Ditko's. Yeah.
I think the only thing that I would say is very different to Ditko is the eyes, because he had a lot more black space on the eyes.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Maybe
but I think the rest of the suit's very Ditko in design, absolutely. And Mesco have just done a Ditko. They've just announced one recently, and it's got a little black space over the eyes. I'm like, I wish I had a custom pair of those for the 1/6.
Yeah. Mate, someone needs to start making the different eyes so we can get those different looks. But I think it's a really nice figure. It comes in almost like a DX size box. And it's I definitely recommend it. I mean, I wouldn't worry about the suit. This hobby is to be enjoyed, and I don't see any other way they could do these figures. So you've kind of got to just accept that there's going to be some sort of natural issues with the material, and you either go with it or you avoid them completely. So
completely. I've said it before. Nobody wears a pair of a shirt or a pair of trousers and stands in the same pose for a fortnight. No, none of us do that. No. Otherwise you get natural wear on the elbows and knees and things like that. I mean, like we've all wore a pair of like jogging bottoms and sat down for too long. You step up and your knees are all stuck out. It's the same principle, and that's with real clothes. So that's the thing that we're always going to get with clothes figures.
Yes.
So I got wear on my knees right now.
There you go.
Yeah, not unless they wanted to start doing visible joints, which we know would be a big talking point too. So
no.
But yeah, man, I always love looking at your displays, your dios, like from this to like the Lord of the Rings. You just go like the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and the Mando one cost me nothing. I mean, it was just bits that I printed off the posters and stuff. I'm thinking about something. I might. It might not be nice to put like a cityscape or something behind the Spider-Man.
That's a good
set
idea.
Up there, and I've got no lighting in this because this is kind of like a spill out area. So I've got an area it's behind me where I put a couple of shelves up, so it's giving me a little bit of extra space. But there's no lighting or anything there at the moment, so I need to kind of have a look at that. But yeah, it'd be good to have like a city backdrop or something behind them. But yeah, no, they're cool. Right, so that was it. So we're now going to go straight into our little interview with Andy. Obviously, as we know, Andy heads up IconiQ Studios. We've had him on previously to talk about his Patrick Bateman figure and Ryu from Street Fighter. And this week or last week, we've just had the newest pre-order, which is Muhammad Ali. So let's have a look at him. So basically, do you want to just tell us a little bit about the figure before I kind of go into
Well, the figure's been a long labour of love, very much in the background. It's actually the first license we took. So we've been working on this for a long while, and this was sort of the birth of the relationship with TB League, or Fyson as people know them, and so this is a fully developed body with them. It comes with hand sculpts as well as boxing gloves. One of the key things that was really important was 2 pairs of feet, so you can have it actually in boxing poses opposed to static poses. It's one of the things that does my head in with action figures when they've got no bent toes or anything like that. And the robe. In addition to that, though, one of the important things for us from when we were actually setting out was we wanted to make sure people were confident in our production. So originally we started by releasing an Ali bust in a limit of 2,000. Okay, what we did with that 2,000 is we took 600 and put them over here. and kept them to one side. Because what we didn't want to happen was that sells out, and then people go, well, I can't find the bust. That's not fair, etc., etc. So, but we'd also made that promise not to do reissues of stuff. So it's a really hard balancing act to operate on. But we knew we'd put those to the side with that planned. So one of the things that we did here is to make sure that people had the option to be able to buy a deluxe set that came with the bust, which meant that you'd have the two heads, or if you're already a customer, you could use the bust that you'd already got with your existing single figure. Also, if you had previously bought the original bust, there was actually a code to set up like a membership with us, which granted you a discount. And we actually, every customer that had bought from us directly and set up stuff, we emailed them all directly, and every customer who registered their little code, we emailed them and sent them a code before release to make sure that they could buy that single figure and get a further discount on it, to make sure that they were getting the benefit of having already purchased with us. So it's been quite a labor of love, body testing, designing, color, because you'll notice there's not a lot of African American based TBL bodies on the market. So this is something that's relatively new from a color palette perspective as well, which is why when we took all the shots, we took them in as many different lighting scenarios. As you'll see, it changes. We didn't want to just do one set of photos and that was it. Let's do it with this lighting. Let's do it with this lighting, to give people, the different sort of colors that they'll see, when they have it in different environments. So it's been quite a labor of love. And obviously with this sort of thing, with somebody who's deceased, you've obviously got to go through their estate and everything like that. So there's a lot of approval process around what you can and you can't do. And that's essentially what it was. I took all of these photos myself. So all the photos that you can see posed are literally taken in my house. So it's that's the figure. It's something, as I say, there's members of the team that are far more sporty and boxing fans than me, definitely. But from me, from an objective outsider point of view, I can sort of look at it and go, does that look right? Does this, from looking at it cold, opposed to some people who just fall in love with it because they love that project, sort of thing. So that's been something that's been a big thing for us. Is about getting it right, making sure that the body isn't just a stock body, and it's something that is appropriate to the era of Ali, because he wasn't a big muscle man boxer, but he wasn't a little slight sort of nipper. He had a specific frame, and it's been about bringing all of those aspects to life and giving collectors as many options as they can have, really.
Cool. So what do you want to run us through the prices and where people can
Oh, now you're asking. It's almost like I've got COVID and I've completely forgot what I'm doing. Well, obviously you can source us on IconicStudios.com. The price points for Ali for the single figure is $199 and for the double pack is $169. Obviously that'll vary depending on if you've got discount codes or anything like that, but I'm not going to get into the water into the muddy water of that. If you've bought with us before, do check your emails and stuff like that. If there's a problem or any of the codes, messages. You can buy them internationally. I get a lot of people ask us, well, you're in the UK, why are you in US dollars? It's the easiest thing for us to deal with the US and several other regions. So all that stuff ships from China. There's certain rules when we're shipping to ourselves that mean we can, deal with that side of things and stuff. It's not always super clear, but we have to go through the official steps.
So the price people pay will be what they pay. They won't get.
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, that is the case. I know, for example, with the original wave of busts, we imported them to ourselves, paid our percentage, of our import and everything, and then those went out from us. So when they went out from within the UK, but that might not always be the case. There's certain things. Obviously, we have to say legally, base your tax on whatever your region is, etc., etc. But if you wanted to buy from other suppliers, we've got a great relationship in the UK with the Good, the Bad, and the Robots, who have things listed. If you're in Hong Kong, 16 Kit is literally involved in what we do. So, they're a great option. If you're in the US, there's Big Bad Toy Store, there's Sideshow, there's lots of options. We've even got that in Japan. And I think we've been contacted by a store from Kuwait. So there's literally loads of options available to you depending on where you are.
Yeah, I mean, 1/6 Kit are great. I've used them for years, and definitely.
I trust Kit with my house keys. Is the regular phrase I use.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, and obviously Lee Ward in the UK with Good, the Bad, and the Moment. So you've touched on a few bits, and we've got some questions in the thing. So
fire away.
The first question was, why did you want to go for the Ali license, and are you a big boxing fan? You kind of said that.
Well, obviously I work with other people, so there's a lot more people in the team that are bigger boxing fans than me. For me, it was a legend status thing. It was also about getting it right, and I'm not trying to. There's not a slight at any other companies or anything like that, but we wanted to sort of produce a figure that sort of captured a couple of different eras. I know for a fact that when I think of Ali as not the biggest boxing person in the world, I think of that, the Sonny Liston fight where he's on the floor and he's like the sort of get up kind of shouting pose, and I think like the angry head really captures that. Yeah. It was about both capturing sort of an angry face that you could pose something very dramatically and get some great shots from, but also if you wanted something, sort of more relaxed and sedate and more like the promo photos before the fight, you could also do that. So it was about capturing those two things rather than just going, oh, here's a boxing figure because we can get the license for it. It was about getting something specific for boxing people. So one of the things that happened that was quite interesting, after we released it, is we literally had phone calls from boxing managers. Like I was on the phone with I'm not trying to name drop, but with people who are like legitimate promoters, like, would you consider our fighter? Would you consider doing this? And so obviously it very much hit a note with those people who are in that community. For those reasons, and that was something we really wanted to capture. In the same way that if we did a football player or if we did a martial artist, or when people do a comic book figure, they want to hit that that fan base in the right way, and that was something we wanted to achieve with this.
No, it's great to hear that there's that kind of instant kind of interest and talk about other figures. So you may not know this because you said that obviously some of it. Do you know what kind of era, year, age of Ali this is kind of representing?
I couldn't pull the numbers out for you, but I will tell you that there are specific. You'll notice that the two head sculpts are slightly different, in particularly the haircut.
Right. Yeah.
So you'll notice like the angrier head has a slightly older head. So that's that Sonny Liston type fight era, whereas the sort of rounded hair is a little bit younger. So it also means that you can very much be using that in line with other brands figures that are a definite set age, and maybe change the ages up if you've already purchased another version of this figure.
Yeah, that's great. Excellent. You touched on the estate. I've got here. Did you deal directly with Ali's estate, and did you face any hurdles in
to be honest, the biggest hurdles with this one were wording on boxes and legal lines and stuff. Obviously, one of the things we had to make sure is like the Everlast legal line, and people don't realize, when people complain about like, oh, Marty McFly hasn't got the night shoes on, it's because you've got to go and talk to Nike and say, can I use this? Do you want money? Are we allowed to, etc. And Everlast were great about it, so absolute props to them. And it's the same with all of this. You've got to go and speak to these people and have the conversations. They always ask questions about why. I think the thing I've learned very much with these licensed properties is they like to ask, if they're interested in what you're doing, they like to ask why you're doing a thing a certain way. Right, because they're interested in what your sort of motivation is, right? Rather than we're just putting stickers on that and it's fine, it's that brand now. They want to know that you're actually invested in producing the thing properly and it looking a certain way. And so dealing with the Ali estate, we have to go through agents and there's back and forward and all that sort of thing. But in general, it's not really been an issue with this figure.
Oh, brilliant. Because I was asked about Everlast. Did you feel that had you got the Ali license before that? So it kind of just
yeah. So you have to make that active decision of approaching a company and saying, hi, we've got this, we want to do this, we want to do it in this quantity, can we use your logo, etc., etc. And you have to go down that thing. And they could say no.
Yeah.
And then at that point, or they could say, yes, but we want this amount of money.
Right.
And it'd be ridiculous. And like, there are certain celebrities, for example, that you haven't ever seen an action figure of. And the reason is because they've either got an extortionate price or they just never want themselves physically made.
Right. Okay.
So it's, I know for a fact that I think it'll be unlikely we ever see a stage David Bowie figure, for example, because the only reason that Bowie figures get made of Labyrinth is because his likeness rights were in the contract. Whereas I don't believe that he wants physical moving part stuff made of him as a, his family don't want that done.
Just get unlicensed third party stuff.
And that's what'll happen. Yeah, unlicensed third party stuff will just exist. That's what happens with that sort of thing. So I think studios and stuff do wise up, and eventually families will go, actually, maybe. Well, it'll be one of two things. Either one, we can do it right and have some control over it, or two, we can make some money out of this. Whichever way around it is that they come to that conclusion. I like to always think the best of people, and I like to think that in general, most people go, I'll make, we're wanting to do this because we can have a little bit of control and get it done right. I think it's the best. That is the way I like to hope that people look at it.
Cool. So I don't obviously want you to disclose anything at all, but so are you saying that sometimes there isn't always money involved? That sometimes it's not necessarily a case of you just going, here's a big wedge of cash, can we do it? It's sometimes it's
sometimes, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes there are things that are off limits. There is another company who I know who are a licensed company, because obviously it's got to this. It almost sounds like an old boys club a little bit, but we all talk to each other. You know what I mean? Like because you all want to know if a certain shop's going to let you down on stocking your stuff or anything like that. And there's certain licenses that other licensed companies have got where they've got the license, but there's particular characters they can't make because the star just doesn't want an action figure made of them, and it isn't in the license, and or it's an estate thing, and the estate just wants nothing to do with it. And it's just what it is. It's really unfortunate, but what can you do? I can't say I particularly want an action figure of me made looking like I do today. So, it's I understand where they're coming from on that respect, and it's their individual choice. I will be interested to ever see if there is a Tom Cruise made for that reason, because Tom Cruise has had his likeness thing close to his chest for many years. The only one that I know of, which I think was a mistake, like I think it got out, but they hadn't sorted the license properly, was it was a Medicom Mission Impossible something figure years and years ago back. It's the only one I know of in 1/6 that's Tom Cruise's likeness.
I thought Hot Toys made one.
It's not official.
Oh yeah, that's not official.
Yeah, it's
not official. Same as the George Lucas and same as the Neo.
I've always wanted a Mel Gibson from The Patriot. I'll never have that. That's always been like a figure that I would love to have. I could probably get like a third party one, but it'll never.
You never know. You never know. It depends. Yeah, again, I think Mel. It depends if he decides that he wants to sell the likeness himself direct or not. It depends on agents. Keanu for years didn't, after the McFarlane thing, didn't want him. Didn't really let his likeness out into toys.
Right.
And then I know where John Wick. And then he's in Fortnite and everything else. So it just depends who's agent and what they're receptive to at the time. So, yeah.
Do you think Tom's is something to do with a height issue?
It could be that, or it could be as simple as like face stuff where they, I don't want my face represented in that way, or because the thing is, any company has to take a little bit of a risk on you, because like we can show amazing photos and we can do amazing work and this, that, and the other, but there's still production. So you've seen it before where you've seen production pieces look amazing as a pre-order, and then they don't. And then they don't at the end. And it's one of the reasons we put out the bust for Ali, really early, was basically to show people that this is what pre-order looks like and this is what final looks like, drag them together. Oh, look, they look as similar as is humanly possible. If you go and find our bust on the market and compare to these pictures, I know it's the same because that's actually a production piece that's in that shot.
Right. Yeah.
So there's no magic involved in that. It's literally the retail piece in that shot. It's from the bottom of my stairs just over there. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think it's less about hype probably with him, even though there is a load of jokes around that, and probably more about not being sure of the end product. And I imagine whoever does that eventually will probably have to do a lot of proof that their production matches their pre-order sort of thing.
Yeah, and I suppose. Sorry, go on. Eddie.
Oh, I didn't know if you had any more questions, Pete.
Oh, I have, but chip in now if you got
some of the. There's some comments in here from some of the listeners, and I don't know if you've spoken on this or how much details you can give us, but a lot of people are asking any plans to do further boxers in this line.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those questions, and I've had a lot of the questions directly to me as well. The answer is very simply is it all depends on sales. Okay, and that sounds really harsh, but you've got to look at something in sort of monetary terms and go, does this work? Will this work? Will it be sustainable? X, Y, and Z for and Ali's doing fine, as regards that. I don't see a reason why there isn't room for other boxes, but we will also have to measure that against the numbers for other stuff. You know what I mean? Because let's be realistic. If I'm selling, I don't know, 4 times more Street Fighter than I am an Ali, who am I going to spend the production time on as a smaller company? Now that doesn't say at the same time that there isn't opportunities for sort of luxury projects or personal projects or stuff. Like I say, there's members of the team that are very, very into that. Somebody mentioned Prince Nazim in the comments. He's actually a local lad to where I live. So it's things like that it's all very much about support of the line. If you're into this and it's something that you want loads of boxes, support it. And it's the same with Street Fighter. If you want loads of Street Fighter, support the Street Fighter lines, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with a smaller company. Sometimes on the channel we'll talk about, maybe pre-ordering isn't the best thing to do, but definitely when it's something that you want to see further, grow, and it's a smaller company just starting out and they're trying to figure out where they need to put their time and focus into, then definitely a lot of people in the comments are saying that they backed it day one because of that,
Yeah, and I appreciate everybody who's done that, and also the flip side of that is as well. It's why when we see certain figures from other companies, like Hot Toys are massive, but there's certain figures we see, and we know that a particular figure hasn't sold well, and then as a result we don't get more from that line, and then people go, oh, why didn't I get that from that line? And then that figure becomes a grail piece because nobody pre-ordered it. Like I'm telling you, 5 years from now, Alita, that modern Hellboy, things like that, going to be worth a fortune because virtually nobody pre-ordered them. And in comparison to, the thousands upon thousands of Iron Men that they will have got pre-ordered as soon as they went live. So it's not like video games. This is the one thing I will tell a lot of collectors. Video games, they printed a disc. It cost them nothing to print more, right? This sort of stuff, projections are, a year in front or more, throughout your production. So it can be, if this all of a sudden goes mad, like any figure goes mad, before it's just about to drop when the first photos, and then everybody's killing each other to produce it. Company might not even have that license anymore to then produce more or anything like that. So it's very much with figures. If you want more of that line or you want more, that figure in particular, always drop your pre-order. You can always cancel it or move it on if you don't want it. And I would say that for any company, not just us.
Yeah, and I think what we're seeing here, and not why we like having you on, is this is a kind of it's a very different situation because we kind of we get to quiz you and we have you on the show, and it's we want it to feel like it's a community thing, so that you're people message you and you answer them and stuff. You don't get that with the bigger companies. So it's not to say that one day you might get too big for your boots and all that kind of business, but
yeah, well, that's next week.
Yeah. But you are a fledgling company, and obviously, as you say, it's very much about the numbers and things. And I think you've put out 3 very different figures for your first 3 pre-orders, not counting the original bust. So it's given you've got, there's a lot of different things for different people. But as you said, I think in this situation, and like Eddie said, I think you want to get your pre-orders in so that you can see that it's a popular line or things like that, and then obviously you then on the back of that can start thinking about obviously contacting other figures, and say it's the next boxer. I hope they do Tyson. I mean, he's been done, but unfortunately those bodies didn't last very long, did they? On that figure, the Tyson ones.
And that's been the reason for going for TBL, because like people worry about seamless a lot, but we know that they're the best industry standard, and if there was something better than, that's where I would be. You know what I mean? That's where the conversations would be. Yeah. It's about getting those industry standards, and that's the thing. I get you with the Tyson thing. I mean, the other option is like the other Ali that was done. It had sort of those blown rubber arms, the ones that like 3-0 regularly do. Where it's a shell inside and then it's a blown outside. And I get that some people might be really into that. Everybody we spoke to when speaking to people who were into boxing really didn't like the creased elbows, and one of the things that was quite important in this, and same with when you mentioned when you talked about Street Fighter last time I was on, it was very much about making sure like elbows and stuff like that look right when it's posed, because otherwise if you're not trying to nail that, what's the point?
So my next question was about the body, actually. So how did you develop the body? Did TB work from a lot of stills and videos of Ali in action?
This was a really interesting one, actually, because obviously this was our first license, so it was pre the world closing down. So we took a lot of stills and we got it made up in 3D. So it existed as a 3D model, which we could then pose and checked it worked. But the coolest thing about this is we sent the body to them, and then we checked the original cast, and we were fine with that. And then we went to just see a blown rubber version of it. Sorry, not a blown rubber version, like a TBL normal version without the skeleton. I've got a hilarious video somewhere of me just shaking the body like that and the arms and legs flailing about. It's really funny. I'll share it with you later if I can find it. It must be on my old phone. But we literally flew to TBL's offices to check those bodies originally, and I came home with 2 and then kept them at home and put them in stupid poses and to see how long and longevity and stuff like that, as we messed around with getting the color palette right. Because when we actually created this body, we created it initially in sort of Caucasian skin tone, just because they already had the mix and it was easy to produce and to test. Sure. And then it was about then dialing down on what the actual skin tone was and making sure that the head and the body were made in the same skin tone as part of that development process. Because obviously using 2 completely different types of material, which means that the head, you're having to pick a base color and then add color on the top, whereas the TBL body, you were just picking a base color. So you've got to pick like 2 different frames of reference and design them around each other. It's interesting, which also means that sometimes it can be one of those things. We've all seen it on the groups before, where some people have took a random picture of a TBL body and maybe the head and the body haven't looked at the proper color, but in real life they do, and it's because cameras and the way that those things sort of work together. It's about making sure it's done properly and that the things match as close as humanly possible, than being 2 different types of materials.
Yeah, no, it looks really good.
Thanks, man.
I've seen some people asking about why he doesn't come with any championship belts. I think I've heard your answer to it, but
I'll just say championship belts is, yet again, it goes into that licensing thing, and we've spoken to Everlast, and because we're using 2 different eras, sort of slightly different eras with the heads, it then becomes which era goes with which belts, and there's a million minefields, to get into with that. And it wasn't about just doing the easy cop-out sort of thing, but the question will always come down to, I mean, you see how cheap we've tried to make the single version of the figure.
Yeah,
199 we've tried to keep that down as much as humanly possible, because obviously it's not a figure that comes with a million guns and a million molds and things like that. But that body and the head sculpting and stuff is still incredibly expensive. In fact, you would be amazed how much the boxing gloves cost to paint, because they're all hand done. They're not just a quick spray. Mm-hmm. So the gloves themselves are extremely expensive. Wow. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's about keeping that price down. And would adding a championship belt be worth $20 at the end of the day? That's a bit of a difficult question when you start looking at pushing the double pack up to near the 300 mark.
Yeah,
it starts to become difficult for people. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say that you just mentioned about the gloves, because I remember mentioning this on CW a couple of weeks ago. Like the way you guys handled the glove, it's like it feels like I want to squish it. It feels like it's actually that soft pleather material.
But it isn't. That's the cool thing. It's PVC, but it's we basically made it so it was like 1:1 and then scaled it down. So the amount of detail that's in it is crazy. The amount of detail that's in it is crazy. I've held them up against other brand boxing gloves and was kind of blown away. It was like that point where you got 4K versus like 720p TV. Yeah. It was one of those sort of situations. I was really excited by how they actually look.
From what I've seen,
so a lot of the magic is in that paintwork, I assume. So
absolutely, I am going to sneakily get a second one though, and see if I can get the factory to make me a green one for Green Arrow. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Stick it on the end. That's going to probably happen. Look, there's got to be some perks to the job, hasn't there? So.
Yeah, obviously.
Actually, I had another question.
Yeah, go on, Dan.
Since we were kind of on the TB League, I'm assuming that the bust is not TB League.
No, the bust is all us. The bust is all us. So the bust's in hard PVC.
Okay.
So breaking it down for you, so the base, it's the bottom base is ABS. That's like a really hard plastic. Then the body and the head are in PVC, which is the same thing. The head the head, we've deliberately not set the inner ball joint and glued it in the head. Quite a lot of companies glue it in the head and go, that's how your head's going to sit. We haven't done that deliberately because we want you to be able to move that head up and down the peg. Mm-hmm. And that's for two reasons. One, that's cool for the bust because it means you can change angles. Because quite often when you look up, your head actually, you sort of reach your head up when you look up, little details like that. But also it was really important for when we put it on the actual boxing body, because we want you to be able to put it onto the cap and then lower it. Because if you want to get him in that hunched low position,
that makes
you
sense.
want that head as low as it's going to go and then the neck forward and then him looking up. There's, just having that extra ability to move the head up and down gives you an extra range of motion, which really sort of makes it a lot easier, So it's in PVC in answer to your question. But there's a lot of mechanics that have been built into both of those things to make it a consistent item.
Yeah, that's cool. There's questions here asking about other sports. Is that something that you're looking into at the moment, or is just a?
I would. I've had meetings with people like the WWE and the NFL, if that's worth a conversation. I got dragged to my first American football game before the world closed, and by the NFL to have a conversation with them about stuff. So those are things that have happened. Do we go forward with them or do we not? That's a question, for the group, for the fans, really, and
and I think some of them must be. I mean, that somebody's mentioned footballers, and obviously that's Marco. So I don't know whether he's talking about American football or soccer football. Obviously, there's a few. I mean, there's people have made unlicensed. Obviously, Ronaldo, Beckham. You see those around a lot, but it's almost like there's too many. Like, who would you? I think it's a minefield as to who you would actually focus on. Messi or there's so many great players over the years. Pele, I suppose, would be a good one. Go well with Ali.
Well, that's the difficult one with sports stuff. I know the difficult one is with superheroes, for example, let's say you go and make a superhero set of figures. Nobody Marvel fans might hate DC fans might hate Marvel, but nobody actively goes out and goes, I hate that superhero because I like this superhero. They just kind of exist.
Yeah.
Sports and teams is very tribal, and sort of you can actively hate the opposition because of this. Yeah. And there is a bit of a minefield that we would have to walk, and we would have to be 100% sure, because, any company can go, right, we're going to go and take loads of licenses and spend loads of money, but doesn't mean at the end of the day, and, it's a good idea. It's about making it sure it's consistent and the people are happy with what's being produced. And then if there is other stuff to look at from other eras and things like that, then that's something we'll look at.
Cool. I kind of have another question on the TV League.
Sure, fire away, man.
Go on.
So, I guess if you do a future character, or sports person that has tattoos, or a character in general, how is the tattoo processing easy on a Phison?
I'm glad you asked. It isn't easy, but it can be done.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. There is a future project that we have in works that isn't tattooed, but has some distinctive body markings. I can't talk about it because I am under NDA. If you've heard Joe sneezing in the background, that's Joe over there.
COVID as well.
Yeah, she has, but she recovered, so she's on the other side.
Yeah.
There is a project, as I say, that I am under NDA for, so I can't go, oh, it's this and this is what it'd look like. But but we have body markings are part of that character, and have successfully been trialed with the TBL thing. And so tattoos, I can't see being an issue. In fact, I'd say they wouldn't be an issue, is what I would say.
Yeah, because I think, like Danny's probably referring to, I know the CC Toys Ellie is quite notorious for those rubbing off of that seamless body, the tattoos on that. So obviously the technique they used wasn't very robust.
No, I think they probably used something along the lines of just a transfer or something along that lines. It's got to be more designed from a silicone level, I think.
So it's almost like a tattoo that's kind of going.
I don't know if it'll be inside, but I think that there's several processes that they could do with paints, so it bonds. Is the key thing, because you've got to remember, whatever you apply to a body has a chemical property to it. So, for example, you stick glue all over a TB League body, right? Might not be immediately, but it'll eventually dissolve because glue's corrosive, by nature. That's how it bonds things together. Yeah. There's a high acid level in it. So you've got to make sure whatever you apply to a thing has a balance, sort of matching, and they want to bond naturally. So there is work that has to go into it. And obviously I'd still never recommend going at it and going, I'm going to scratch this figure off. But if you're planning to do that anyway, you're already going far beyond what the figure or whatever the content was designed for.
Yeah, because I've drawn some tattoos on hard bodies, but I haven't attempted it on a seamless body. But no, I think I would imagine TB League are the best place to be kind of doing that work. They are the leaders in this, and I've got several of their bodies, and I think they're brilliant and not had any problems with them. So I think, I think if anyone's going to nail it, it's probably them.
Yeah, and that's why I like them for this sort of stuff. Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. I think you and I have already talked about this off air, and
fire away.
To give us much, but could you tell us anything about when without saying what it is, when perhaps your next pre-order may be up after Ali, and can you give us any clues as to what it may be? I know you said. I can't.
I can't. It's the official answer, because everything's got to go through. Like I say, there's a process of getting things applied for and whatever. I would say if you use some sort of general common sense from what we've shown, we have shown Ken in a teaser before, so I would not be too surprised to see that soon. And if people go right back to our old teasers, we might have teased an Elvis that's had a full rework of that sculpt and everything. Oh, wow. And if any of you are aware, there's a movie coming out.
Yeah, I just saw the trailer. Yeah, and
that costume might be in the trailer somewhere. That's all I'm saying.
An Elvis movie.
Yeah, the Elvis movie. It's on the way. Thank you very much. But yeah, yeah, again, that was another thing, you know, without getting into future things and talking about it too much. That was another thing we know has been done, but we wanted to do something that hasn't been done in 1/6. So the thing hasn't been done. So, yeah. I will say that, and it's the same thing with the alley as well, is that, have you guys heard of the Mandela Effect before?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Right, so just for anybody listening, the Mandela Effect is this thing where you think something, or you think two things were combined when they actually weren't. It's the Bernstein Bears and the Bernstein Bears argument. It's like which was it, sort of thing. And you know, it's like, so with Elvis, one of the things we found in a lot of our research and development is a lot of people, particularly like the guys who dress up as Vegas Elvis, will dress from two completely different eras and bring them together.
Right.
So we have this common perception of what we think it looks like isn't actually what it was. So there's a lot of work, and it's the same with the alley. What era is this from? You know, how, and that's why we made sure we had sort of two different era heads. For that reason.
I'd be incredibly interested in that line. I always thought that there should be more musicians in 1/6 lines. So that's cool to hear.
Mate, I'd love that being the case. I'm a massive metal guy, so I would love the ability to do loads of metal figures and stuff like that. There's just so much I would love to do, but alas, it's all dependent on licensing and community and everything else. So we'll see. You never know.
Definitely. Cool. Pete, did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Do you remember Tex? The bad guy, the guy that goes to the house with the girls at the end to attack them?
Oh yeah.
He's the guy playing Elvis.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So the trailer looks pretty good. So I'm excited for it.
That'd be good.
And common fact that people don't know is Elvis was a massive fan of Shazam.
Oh wow!
A lot of his actual costume and the short cape based off Shazam.
Yeah, in the trailer, in the beginning when he's a kid, he has the cardboard lightning bolt on his chest. He's running around.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense now. His outfit.
Yeah.
It all falls into place, and you're like,
cool.
oh
yeah. Like how? Yeah, it does just come off to the side. Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, my last question
things.
really, apart from the guys who got anything else said. How are the pre-orders going for Bateman and Rio? All looking good?
Well, yeah, Bateman and Rio are all wrapped up. We've closed pre-orders. So everything we do is manufactured to order. Obviously, we can't, like some retailers will put in what we call extra orders or overflow. So like if we sell out, but they've got stuff, it's because they'll have ordered X amount, like 40 or 50 more or something like that. And then what that then means is that they're already accounted for that in their submitted numbers. So those guys are all closed. In fact, Rio and Bateman are well into production.
That's cool.
I need to check something on, because I don't want to promise anything on here that we can't fulfill, but I've got a feeling Bateman, we might have added 2 more hands to that figure, but I need to check.
Wow.
Because there may or may not be some gloved hands coming with that. I need to check if that was a thing.
Cool. That's
so,
nice.
Yeah, just some extra, it was one of those like, could we do it? So I need to see where that's at. But those figures are both well into production. And, at the first opportunity to show everybody, we'll show everybody. And we'll, this is what retail is. This is what pre-order was. And we'll do it in that way. So there's no sort of panic over things. We'll make sure people get hold of them and so on, so on and so forth. So there's so they know they're getting their stuff in good time.
Yeah, I think like you say with the alley bust, I think once that Bateman releases and people see that the quality's there and it holds up to what was solicited as the prototype, then that should give you a massive boost in terms of people's confidence in the company.
Exactly.
For future releases and stuff. So that'd be really good to see that.
I just can't wait till people get their hands on that suit, because it was one of those things that I still remember it to this day. We're taking it out of that box and going, wow, and I've handled a lot of 1/6 suits, and that was one of those that I remember the prototype for that being stunning. I just wish the world was more open so I could be sat on the production line looking as things go along and stuff like that. But instead I have to rely on photos and shipments and things like that at the moment.
Yeah. Well, hopefully things will get back to a bit more normality. Although there's other things going on a bit more.
Tell me about it.
I like all these questions. Like, is that going to affect hot toys? Well, not really. I don't know that they do much out of Ukraine, but this shit's going to affect everything, really.
Everything, and I mean, let's be real right now. Hong Kong. I don't know if you've read it in the news. They've got a crisis on at the moment over there with some COVID stuff and things like that. And you've got to bear in mind, just the simple thing is, if dock workers are sick and can't go to work, then your boxes aren't getting packed that day. Yeah. So if things are going to be delayed by a week, there's not much I can do about it. I can put stuff on a plane, I can get stuff to a dock, but if nobody's there to physically load the thing onto the boat, there's not a great deal we can do until those people are fit and well. In the exact same way, if your postman's ill and can't deliver the stuff to the house that day, then it ain't delivered,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
So, there's some silly questions. But you guys got anything more to add?
Before we move on from the alley, the boots, I don't think we talked about the pre-pose boot at all. That's an amazing touch, dude, because it's a big part of boxing. Like, the stance is a very, specific stance that they use in boxing, and that's a really cool touch to be able to
the same. I had to keep my mouth shut a bit when we did Street Fighter. Thank you, because the inspiration for Ryu's second pair of feet for Street Fighter was this figure. Because obviously, even though we've released them out of sync, this was designed first, and it's been one of those things where it's really important, the stances and everything like that. And the other option we had and we did explore was making the boots out of a material and having the toe bend so you could bend them. But the issue that we were presented with was, like, material wants to spring back to its original form. And when you're doing it with a real pair of shoes, you have a certain amount of weight to be able to put pressure on that shoe and cause it to bend. And, if you run in shoes too much, eventually they tear, etc. Figures don't have that weight. So to counteract that, it was like, well, let's just make the shoes. Let's just make a second pair because it's important. And it was one of those things that I really fought for. There was a few people, in production that were like, because obviously they're all money in production side of things. Do you want this? Are you sure it's going to cost X amount more? Are you sure you want to do that? And for this, it was like, it's really important, and it will be as important in for Street Fighter as well. And when like the boxing fans of the of the company as well were like, no, this is massively important. This is why we've done it. So it is about being faithful to it. It is about getting those boxing poses right. I mean, those boots as well. I mean, we don't list it as a separate item, but those socks are actually separate from the boots. They're actually
I was looking at that,
They're actually, like, separate. So it is actually really satisfying slipping the boot off the sock and then plugging the next one on. I don't know why, but it's just great.
Yeah, a lot of people, I don't think about that when you're thinking about the way that materials work on actual, human beings and stuff. Like when they're making vehicles, for instance, there's a company that makes 1/6 vehicles, and they're saying, like, the vehicle cannot be exactly 1/6 scale because the figures won't be able to sit down in it correctly because of the way the seat would morph to your body and the way your skin would move into sitting into those seats. And, like, so you have to make it a little bit bigger so the figure actually sits, or like what you're saying with the boot and everything. And I always thought that was interesting because it's something I would have not ever thought about. So,
I mean, to go back onto, just comment on that, to go back onto the American Psycho, and we talked about this before. One of the biggest engineering feats that I saw the production team pull off, which was amazing, is that clear coat. Because what people don't realize is if you make that coat in full size in like 1/1, obviously the material is a certain thickness, which gives the coat its actual texture. When you scale that down, one of two things happens. Either one, you've scaled the material down thin and it becomes like one of those polythene packets that you put in like a Filofax and it just tears, or you end up making this big thick plastic jacket that you can't see through. And so them sourcing accurate material that was produced in a correct way, and it's one of the reasons we put magnets on the front to tie it together was because of the type of material that we were using and planning for that longevity of it. So I'm a collector. I want things to last as long as they possibly can. And obviously, it does require the person at the end being responsible and not, if you leave things stood in the garden in a specific pose for 6 weeks, rain, sleet, and snow outside. Yeah, I as a person making it, I can't really be held, accountable for that. But simple stuff like toes bending and longevity of it, we want to make sure those things really, sort of last as long as humanly possible and enables you to do more with the figure. So
no, it's great. I think it's really putting some thought into what it is you're making and what that person is, what they made their living on, what they're famous for. And obviously, as Eddie said, it's really important to have the right stance for a boxer. And there's no way you could futz it in at all with the standard boots. It would look odd. So that's a nice touch, that. And I think you've done with Ryu and this figure, there's a lot of kind of not innovations but nice kind of subtle tweaks on things that people have done in the past. But there's some real thought going into these figures, which is what I liked. What I like about them is they're they seem like real passion projects, and you're very, very hot on making sure that everything's accurate and that it just looks and feels right. And you don't always get that with some of the other companies. They'll go, yeah, it's good enough, and it's I'm with you. And there will be one day where people go, oh well, I prefer you to do this way, or whatever, preferred you to make that other choice. Obviously we knew we're trying different stuff, and I know some people aren't massively into the seamless body thing as well. There definitely is people that aren't into that, but I think we would have combated just as much if we'd done a jointed Ali figure, for example. Yeah.
And people go, why didn't you make this seamless? You made Ryu seamless. It'd have been exactly the same thing. So we basically got to go with his gut and what we feel is going to get the best sort of design for the figure, and so it can aesthetically look the way that you want it to look on your shelf. And you talked about passion projects. It is about making sure that everything feels right, and as I say, as not a massive boxing aficionado myself, it's very important that, when I pick a figure out of the box to do photography or do something or look at it, I go, wow, that looks great. And that's important to me, just as a collector, to see stuff and be genuinely excited about it. I know that there's certain people that have purchased this figure that don't purchase 1/6, and this will be their only 1/6 because Ali is a really big, important cornerstone of their life. And because of that, I mean, it showed up to me very much on the YouTube reviews for the original bust. I made a point of going and talking to as many of those people as I could, like just dropping a comment, hi, whatever, on the channels and stuff, because it was, it was important for me that those people liked what the product was at the end of the day. And
and I think you'll find the same thing with Elvis as well. I mean, Elvis is still a huge celebrity, around the world, and there'll be people that will be buying that figure as their only 1/6 because they just want a really accurate representation of that person. So that is really.
And you have so many errors to dig from.
Yeah. Honestly, there's a couple of things about that. There's a couple of things about the main one that we've got coming out that I can't wait to be able to talk about, because some of the decisions on that were like, could we do that? Yeah, we'll do that. We'll try that. One of the really cool things I've mentioned before on like American Psycho was like not using glue to connect the magnets. Like stitching and tailoring in the right places and using things where we needed to use them. And we've used a lot of that same ethos going across to that figure, because like, trying not to spoil stuff. Speaking generally, if you let's talk about Han Solo from Hot Toys, right? Mm-hmm. How many of those shirts stained over time because the collar was glued in? Mm-hmm. The glue goes orange. Yeah. Shirt goes like that weird yellow color because of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That won't happen because of what we've done. So yeah, and you can expect to see that sort of ethos being, sort of rolled in going forward.
Cool. No, I mean, I 100% support the seamless body. I think if you any figure that you're going to have that is not wearing a shirt, you can't do it with joints. It just feels like a toy.
Yeah, it takes you out of it. Yeah,
it does. It does.
Anything with musculature, actually, you kind of have to have the seamless.
Yeah.
You know how you mentioned this earlier, and you said, what would Spider-Man? How could it be done differently? The one thing I would love to do is the opportunity to do a seamless body with a spandex oversuit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you can't trap the joints, you can't trap the material, which means you don't have to use the plastic material anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do something really insane with that. There's a few ideas and a few IPs that could work really, really well.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Excellent. Well, that's all the questions I've got. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Andy? Or
no. Obviously we're on IconiQ Studios. If there's any, if you purchase directly, obviously there's discount codes and all sorts of things that we throw out when new collectors, sort of have, want to, new pre-orders come up.
Mm-hmm.
If I haven't made a lot of sense to everybody today, I do apologize. I'm still getting over the virus, as it were. So just bear with me on that front. But if there's anything else you guys have to ask or anything, anybody else?
A few questions on the Muhammad Ali.
Sure, fire away.
Like, let's say if this does really well and you hit other errors, like let's say you do like a later, like the 75, like I consider this like the 65 if you were saying it's listed. So like if you do his later career, like the 75, his 75 years, like against Frazier, Foreman, and like Spinks.
Foreman, Rumble in the Jungle.
Yeah, is that like a possibility?
Yeah, it's something. Look, I have the relation. We have the relationship now with the estate where I could go back to them tomorrow and say, right, I want to do this, and this. So that's not a problem. As I say, it's driven by the sales. It's driven by sort of the end product as well. Obviously, we've got to deliver on that, not only for the customers, but obviously when you a lot of people don't talk about this, but when you agree sale like a license with most people. Most of the companies get some of your figures, like 6 of them or 10 of them or 12 of them or whatever, whatever you agree in the contract. So they're going to want to be happy with that end product. Now, I know they're going to be because, I remember when we supplied them the bust for the first time and they were like, oh my God, we love this, and that was great. Cool. In fact, the last licensing show I was at, they had it on display, so it was great, in a positive way. So I would say, as I say, with the community, if everybody's behind it, us doing more stuff is definitely possible. Okay. So but it always comes down to those numbers and whatever. It also comes down to, as well as revisiting stuff, because yes, there's this license, but at the same time, if we drop like 3 alleys in the next 6 months, people are going to be a little bit burnt out by that.
Yeah.
And it's the reason, like, we could have dropped Ryu, then Ken, then whatever other Street Fighter figure that might be in the pipeline, but we chose not to do that because it was about staggering the different types of release. Nice. So different collectors have the option of dropping in at different times. I mean, what it's like when all the pre-orders hit at the same time and how much it costs. Yeah. We could have dropped Ali before Christmas, but it was one of those things where it was like, it's Christmas and people's money's tied up, and I wouldn't want to be that guy making that choice between something I really love and Christmas. So because my kids and things like that will always win out. So we try to accommodate as much of that as humanly possible. Depending on demand, we'll look at anything. I know it sounds like a really throwaway staple answer. But it's the truth. It's dependent on the demand of the community.
Yeah. I got one more question.
Promising so far with it. Sorry, I just saying, if you've made your pre-orders targets for the other 2 figures,
exactly.
We'll do well as well. So go on, Danny. Sorry.
So I was thinking, I have a question about, I guess, the licensing and name.
Sure.
I guess
anything I can talk about, I will.
You go the other way. So let's say you go backwards. Let's say you go to his 60s, whereas the Olympics. Like, could you be able to use
Olympics
Cassius
is
Clay?
a nightmare. I'll tell you outright. If you start using the word Olympics in it, you would have to go all down the speaking to the Olympics Commission and all of that. Now, if you were like name the fight and the year, you'd probably get away with it. But going down a specific Olympics route would require, if having anything that was from the Olympics would require sign off of that person. Now they might be like, yeah, no problem, absolutely. But my gut says that they would want us to open the checkbook massively for Olympics.
But would you be able to market like the name to Cassius?
I don't know. I would for the Cassius thing. I think I have a feeling that name's potentially off limits. I'd have to check the contract to say. I think it's Ali because that's the persona and brand that's currently done. But I don't. My gut says no, but I'd have to read through the contract for this is something ridiculous, like 20 odd pages or something stupid. You know, the party of the second party and all that business. So I'd have to read through it to get you that answer. But my gut says probably because of all their domains and registrations and everything. Yeah. And you'll see if you look at the pictures, there's a little blurb at the bottom which we have to specifically say this and persona rights and website, etc., etc. We would have to stick to that sort of. Basically whatever they said from a licensing point of view. So yeah.
Cool.
Marco wants to know if you guys are hiring.
Not right now. Depends what you. Excuse me. It depends. Like if you've got like art or stuff that you do, and you want to send like links, you can always send links to me for stuff because well, not to me personally, please do it to IconiQ because I can't tell you the amount of stuff that I get. Wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and somebody sent me 28 messages like, why are you not responding? Because it's 3 o'clock in the morning UK time. That's the reason. This is my personal account. That's why. But yeah, you know, we have a domain address on the website. If you have like any art or stuff that you do specific thing, feel free to you know send stuff over. I can't say we reply to every message because we can't always with the amount of email and there's only a small team of staff, but with that sort of thing, you'd be surprised that things come up and I go, I know a guy. I spoke to that guy 6 months ago and he can do this. So, you know, there's little specific bits of work that we've hired specific artists to do and work on and stuff like that. So you never know.
There's more questions about specific
sure, fire
sports. Away. No, it's just there's like more questions about specific you know, famous athletes and things, and I think the general takeaway from that is Andy seems very like open and motivated to like see different avenues for different athletes and things, and I don't think he has any specific characters in mind right now, but I'm sure, like he said, if this is supported, that's your best way of letting him know that you want more sports, more athletes, more things.
Exactly.
Like that.
Exactly that. It's things like that set a precedent, and you know, there's, for example, Psycho was a real runaway hit, and that tells me more things in that cult movie genre is definitely a thing that we'll do. There is a very famous cult movie from the 80s that we signed recently. Speculate on that as you will, but I'm a massive fan, and to get that was like really exciting, and it's something that hasn't really been looked at in a very long time. So it was there'll be more in sort of that ilk that you know that covers that, because Psycho was that, and when we went to speak to that licensor, we went, look at the numbers for Psycho. This is what happens. Similar type of film. Do you want to go down that road? And that's it. Just by you buying, you open avenues for companies to have those conversations. I guarantee you, when Hot Toys or somebody like that goes to a company, they go, look at how many Iron Men we sold. That is the conversation that they have. Here's the numbers. We would like to take that license. And it enables us to have that power as well. So by supporting people like that's what you do.
So maybe you should look into doing the original Psycho and having a Norman Bates.
Yeah, mate. There's lots of classic stuff.
And stuff.
There's lots of classic stuff. Somebody said the Thing would be a badass figures. I'm saying nothing.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've not spoke to Universal, honest. I don't know what you mean.
One of the most kit-bashed wanted figures is the McCready.
Yeah. That's a big wink.
The flamethrower.
No, it's not a wink at all. I'm just saying I've not had any conversations with Universal in the last 12 months. It hasn't happened. I don't know what you mean. You're on it. So, yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Just mentioned Tyson would be best or Conan. Well, technically we've had Conan because that was what the M34, 35 was based on. Was Conan? It was Arnie's physique.
Yeah.
As far as I'm
aware. Really interesting things happening with Conan from a licensing point of view in the background at the moment. So
Chronicle had it, didn't they? And they've obviously gone.
Yeah. There is that, but also it's not as simple as that even anymore. Mm-hmm. So the company who makes the Conan online video game now owns a load of the rights to it.
Okay.
So, for example, like Frank Frazzetta's art, for example, is now referred to as the Barbarian. But if you wanted to call it Conan the Barbarian, you then have to go to this video game company and license it. Right. But except some of the Conan brands are also owned by Marvel.
Yeah,
because like Conan's in the Avengers at the moment in the comics.
Oh my god!
Savage Conan and
Conan. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like to make a Conan figure that's era appropriate and what covers what, plus licensing rights from Arnie to get the the likeness rights. It's a real minefield of speaking to several companies and getting several people on board. So yeah,
that would be a grail of mine though. A properly licensed Arnie.
I would love the black and white one.
Yeah, I've got a very nice kit bash one, but
yeah. No, I'm very much with you.
Yeah, the black and white one where he takes out the snake.
Yeah, that would be the one I'd make. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Anything else, guys? Or
I think that should be.
Yeah. Well, that was brilliant, Andy. Thanks very much for
thank you, Andy.
joining us again.
Thanks, Andy, for answering all the
No problem at all. And Funcom is the name of the company. Somebody's popped it in the comments. I believe it is Funcom.
Oh, what the own the
that now own the rights, possibly.
Okay.
So
cool.
Somebody's just said a comment about WWE figures. Let me just say something about that very, very quickly because I get asked about it all the time. Mattel, I believe, own all of the rights for posable figures in every single scale.
Oh wow!
Right. So the way that Storm got around it was they made a Hulk Hogan figure. They didn't make a WWE figure.
Yeah.
They made so it's a minefield, which is why I think you're seeing third parties now.
It's like Infinite Studios. They've made a Bela Lugosi figure, not a Dracula figure.
Exactly. I literally had the conversation with WWE about it, and they were like, let's check, because they were impressed with the Ali body and stuff, and they went, we can't, because they own all of it.
It's sad, isn't it, that they've got those licenses and they've got no interest in releasing any figures in those.
And the problem is because it's such an old, archaic contract that will be, sort of set in stone, that it'll probably be like expires in 50 years or something crazy.
Till the end of time, yeah.
Yeah, till the end of time. The only way I could see around it is if somebody did AEW or something like that, and then hope that the wrestlers move over, and that's the only way I could see around it. But then you want to get most people want the classic personas from Attitude Era and stuff like that, which you're probably not going to see. So
you can't do like the WCW stuff because WWE owns the rights now.
Exactly. So you can't do WCW, you can't do ECW,
you can't do NWA. Well, actually, maybe you can do NWA.
Yeah. So it creates a massive. It creates a massive problem.
Can we have a Big Daddy and a Giant Haystacks?
Yeah. I'll just I'll get them out. They're coming right out after George Best.
Brilliant.
That'll make no sense to anybody else across the pond. I'm sorry, the other guys. But...
Yeah, I don't know about
that was the real wrestling. That was.
I know Haystacks. Wasn't that Jake the Snake's dad?
You lost them now.
Now we're lost. I know who Jake the Snake was. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was his dad. I'm not sure about that, but
a really massive hairy guy, and Big Daddy was his nemesis, who's basically like a big baby. But yeah, that was British wrestling in the 70s. And I don't think they pulled their punches like the.
No, I think there was a lot of broken noses exchanged. I'm pretty sure that was the thing.
A bunch of stiff workers.
It was proper hardcore stuff. Yeah. So, Tom Brady figure was great.
Yeah.
The GOAT.
But I mean that's another issue. I mean, I'm not really talking out of school here, but just to explain to people as well, people don't realise that NFL is really tricky because the NFL is split into sort of two kind of things. It's you've got the people who own all the shirts and everything like that, and then you've got the people who own the likenesses and own like the numbers and the rights to use them. It's not one thing. So there's NFL and NFLPA, and so you've got to sort of bleed those two things together to make it work. It's a really difficult thing.
And obviously, players move between teams, and who owns
what when.
Yeah, exactly. And which one do you make? I mean, obviously Brady, it would be Patriots. I mean, he did fantastic well with the Bucks, but everyone knows him as he made his name with the Patriots, but so that would be the one you'd go with. But then would he say actually I'd rather you did it in? I can't imagine he would, but he could say, no, I want you to release me in the Buccaneers jersey, and it's, as you say, there's so many things involved. Or even if you'd be allowed to have them in an actual proper jersey.
There's a lot of plates to spin, no matter what you do with that sort of thing. And it's all money, and it's all obviously a lot of these companies want their stuff to be out there, so I don't mean it in any disrespect, but time and development and stuff. Every time we spend having a 3-hour phone call about what rights we can use with this, that, and the other takes away from designing that thing over there. And there's only so many hours in the day that you have to actually actively pop stuff together and everything like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Someone said Mark Henry. That would be an insane Fison body to do.
Dude,
it would.
That'd be the heaviest Fison body ever made.
I don't know. I think my gut says that the Ryu will be the heaviest Fison body that's ever been made.
Oh,
that
definitely.
Thing would gouge.
Yeah.
It is massive.
Yeah. Cool.
So, yeah.
He hates the pads. Jesus. He'd buy the heck out of it. Cool. What I say. I think we've covered everything. So thanks for joining us again, Andy. It's always
no problem, man. I'm going to disappear purely because my legs have gone numb from sitting on the top of the stairs talking to you since the house is on the full decorating mode. So I'll catch you guys later. Have a nice time. Thanks for having me on.
Have a good recovery.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Quick recovery.
Cheers, Andy.
Thanks guys. Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that was great. I don't know what you guys thought.
Yeah,
but,
very informative.
I think it's a very unique sort of situation we've got where we can kind of get in at the front door and talk to Andy about these things. And, it's something that, I mean, I certainly don't. I've never known anyone that worked for any of the big companies or anything. So this is a real eye-opener. And I think I can't wait for the first one where... Because I like all these figures, but I haven't pre-ordered any of them because they're not kind of in my... collecting sphere.
That's the thing.
I can't wait for the first one from Iconic where I go, I've got to have that, and I'm gonna pre-order
because you want to support him. I feel
exactly.
the same way.
I do, and I think
I want to support him, and I do know who Ali is. He's a great, legendary character, but like, it's not for me. And then the same thing with Ryu, very good looking figure. It's not for me. So like, I'm waiting for that same thing. So Elvis might be that thing for me. If that
me too. Because I sit here and I'm thinking, we're giving him the airtime and everything, but I want to support him with a pre-order. But as you say, it's got to be the right figure for you. And I think they're all fantastic. And I think it's not going to be long before there's going to be something that I'm going to want to jump on. And obviously, lots of things have been thrown about in jest or not in jest or double bluffs or whatever. But I think there's definitely going to be some really good IPs coming up from them. So, and hope, and obviously sales of the initial release is going well. So hopefully they'll be around for some time to come and start working through. Yeah, brilliant. Right, so let's move on to the meat and potatoes. So we haven't got anything in new releases, so I'm not gonna run the thing for that. So we'll have a look at what's coming soon.
Coming soon.
Okay,
oh,
so
no.
oh no. So I suppose the biggest reveal of the week's the Back to the Future 2 DeLorean time machine from Hot Toys. I'm not sure. I didn't look up I haven't got the. I think it's Q2 2023, Q2 or Q3 2023. I think.
Yeah.
Lots of people got it up for pre-order. Ian's got in Collector's Den in the UK has got it for $7.90 with free shipping, which is probably about one of the best prices I've seen on that. Which is pretty good considering that I think you struggle to get the first one for under $100,000 for now. So I know you guys chatted a lot about this on CW. So but obviously looks great. I know that obviously John had some issues with it, but then we'd have been surprised if he didn't.
Yeah.
I own the original one. I think I paid about $700 for it a couple of years ago.
Wow.
This doesn't bother me because it's different. It's part 2. It would have been nice if they could have done the light up dashboard back in the day when they released the original one. I think that's the only thing that's probably I would think I'd really like that. But obviously the other bits are all specific to part 2. And although you can transform it back to the wheeled version, it's still got Mr. Fusion on it and bits and pieces. So and the
license plate.
I think it was inevitable. I mean, I think it's the license plate as well. And I mean, I imagine there'll be 1,000,001 people printing off decals that you can buy with the out of time one if you want to kind of futz in for Back to the Future 1. But I thought once we saw the part 3 figures and they showed some shots of the part 3 car, I kind of thought this was probably coming because they showed this off years and years ago, didn't they? And then nothing ever came of it. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And obviously 90% of it is the same mold as the last one. And it's a fantastic piece. I don't know if either of you have owned it or seen it in person, but it is brilliant, and it's kind of you could even say it's manageable for a 1/6 vehicle because it's a fairly short car anyway. Still massive, but you can actually kind of feasibly get it on a shelf somewhere and display it. Although mine's sitting on a large cardboard box at the moment because I haven't got anywhere permanent to put it.
That's the thing, is finding the right shelves.
Yeah,
because not only is it probably heavy for 1/6 thing, but also the width. Even statues don't have this width that you need to display these things. So,
and if you want to display this on obviously in a flying pose, then you've got that extra height as well. Yeah. And do you want to risk that being up too high and things like that? I'm sure it's very solid and things like that. It's nice that they've got USB for the lighting now.
Yeah, very nice.
Whereas I think you had to have like those funny little adapter things for it before. But no, I think it's cool. I've got a bit. We'll talk about it again in a bit later on in group shenanigans. I'm going to bring it up again and just talk about the wheels and how they sit when it's transformed. But did you say you're probably going to pick this up, Eddie?
Yeah. Some people were giving me shit for it because I said I'm not doing 1/6 figures anymore, but I'm making an exception for vehicles, especially like, very iconic vehicles like this. I would love to have, and obviously I'm not gonna buy a statue of this, so because it would be insane. But,
yeah.
So yeah, I definitely want to. I haven't pre-ordered it yet. I'll probably hold out until it's in stock, just because I don't feel there's a need to, to put money on it ahead of time. I don't feel it'll sell out, and I don't feel like they need me to pre-order this to make other things. I think they're going to continue to make. It seems like they're very interested in 1/6 vehicles again, so I think they're going to keep doing that stuff. But yeah, I think it looks good, and I guess I'll save the wheel talk for later if you're going to bring it up again.
Yeah, we will touch on it. So you, in essence, you would just display this just as a car on its own without any figures.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I mean, maybe because the one Back to the Future figure I would love overall is Marty at prom when he's up on stage.
Yeah.
Doing Chuck Berry.
Mm-hmm.
That's my like grail Back to the Future figure in the suit with the red guitar and everything. So
yeah.
If they ever did that, then I would probably get that to put with this. But I don't need any of the other ones.
I think
I'd be cool with the vehicle.
It's iconic enough to have
definitely
on display by itself. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you,
Danny?
Oh, go ahead, Pete.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, what do you think on it, Danny?
Oh yeah, I think it looks amazing. Other than the wheel, I mean, we're gonna get to it later, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it just looks amazing. But I think maybe a few years ago I would have jumped on this, but now I'm more focused and honed in where I can't kind of sway off from the Star Wars focus. So
it's funny because
if I had unlimited space, I would consider this. Definitely.
Yeah, because I used to have I had the Back to the Future 2 Marty for a little while because I always felt that I always liked the head sculpt a bit more on that one. Then I sold that to Ian, which kind of started him off, and he got the dock and everything as well. And then it was just pure chance that I managed to get a really good deal on Part 1 Marty and the DeLorean. And obviously, much to my pleasure, they obviously then announced Doc, Part 1 Doc. So that's going to be, I'm really looking forward to that. I don't want the Candle Einstein, so good job he came with Marty. So that, that's cool. So it was never a line that I was really going to collect because I was never going to pay that out on the DeLorean, but it just kind of came about. But it is really cool, and if you did get it, Eddie, it's a nice bit of kit.
Plus, this is the DeLorean that I would want, like this version, Part 2, Mr. Fusion and the wheels.
Andre in the chat had a question, and since Pete has it, maybe you can answer. Is it possible to mount the DeLorean on the wall easily, or is it a bit too fragile for that?
What he wants to like?
Yeah, I don't know if he means like on its bottom against the wall, or like to have like a floating shelf on the wall, or maybe like hangers.
It's not,
in some way,
it doesn't weigh a ton. It's all plastic, so I mean it'd be happy on a shelf. I don't know about whether he means kind of flat. That would be a bit odd. I wouldn't worry about having it on a shelf, a floating shelf or anything, because it's bulky, but it's not it's not die cast or anything. It's not massively heavy. It's not going to give you a problem. To have it on a shelf or something, but whether or not there was any way that, you could probably do something where you could use this stand and then just have a shelf like just underneath it, so you didn't have a big shelf and you've just had,
So he is talking about putting the wheels directly against the wall just for space reasons.
I don't know how you'd secure it, how you were thinking of doing that, whether you were going to kind of, without drilling into it, and so obviously it doesn't have anything that you could fix to the wall as far as I know. So, it doesn't weigh a ton, but I question how you would go about doing that.
Is the undercarriage like completely flat? Because I'm thinking you could like maybe do some kind of hooks that hook into somewhere under the carriage, but I don't know how
you could,
stable that would be.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it has got some detail underneath, but yeah, whether there's anywhere where you could do that or not, I wouldn't like to say.
Yeah.
And obviously this one's different again because it's it's got lights underneath, hasn't it? And obviously you've got the wheels on this version, which will come.
Does the base light up?
Yeah, it's got lights underneath. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just see it in the middle there, the bottom.
Not the base, Danny. The under the car itself.
It's got underlights on the.
Yeah, not like the arms on the base.
No, it's got spotlights.
I was wondering about how those little electric thingies or whatever.
No.
You mean the arms
that's just
of the
Photoshop?
base?
Yeah, that's.
It does look a little lit, huh?
I don't know if it's Photoshop.
Yeah, I don't think they do, but I think it's probably to simulate the light from the chassis. But I don't know.
Because I was going to say, if it does light up, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But obviously, with this one, the wheels would be what would be in contact with the wall as it is now, whereas as it should be, as we'll get to, then that they should be more flush with the bottom of the car. So I don't know that you could do it with this one, with the wheels in that position. But not sure. But yeah, that's cool. I don't have as an owner of the original one, I don't have a problem with this at all. I don't buy to invest. I buy to enjoy. And I could sell that for what I paid for it if I needed to. So I'm fine with this. I'm fine with this. And if I had unlimited funds and unlimited space, then I would have this one, and I would have the Part 3 one as well, which is inevitably going to come out now, I'd have thought. So
I think it is somewhat weird that they show off pictures of the 3, but then put this one up for order. I mean, it makes more sense, I think, to put this one up for order, but why did you show pictures of the 3 then? Because I think a lot of people were excited for that one. So, I don't know.
They'll bring that out 5 years after the figures, like they've done with this one.
Probably. It's just weird how they advertise. They can't do it next year
because this is still kind of like a fresh purchase, the amount. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an odd one, but I suppose better late than never. Good to see it.
I'm okay with the release also. I think it's different enough.
And then we have another vehicle which was announced today, which is the Ghostbusters Afterlife Ecto-1 from Blitzway. I haven't seen any pricing or projected release dates or anything. I think it's just a tease, but obviously the original one was very expensive. Very large, very expensive.
I think the pricing is $1,700.
Okay.
I don't know if it's $16.99 or $17.99.
Yeah,
but
it sounds about right.
What was the price for the original?
Something like that, $1,500, $1,600.
It was pricey, dude.
Yeah.
It was pricey.
And it goes for a lot more than that now, I think. But it looks cool. I mean, obviously, this is a very kind of very beaten up, rusty, 30 years later version. Couple of sort of differences. You've got the little RC ghost trap there that sits in the boot there, and that comes out, and I assume it's got working wheels and stuff, and also the kind of the gunner's chair that pops out the side. I think it's really cool. I mean, it's a bit weird to the fact they haven't solicited any figures from this movie yet, because obviously, again, like you're saying with the DeLorean, Eddie, you could very feasibly just display this on its own without the figures, but I can only assume that there's going to be figure announcements coming of the kids and the older.
In the description, it says it makes a point of saying that you can fit the Ghostbusters figures in here.
It does,
and I don't know if they're alluding to new figures or if they're saying the old ones that they did fit in there. I don't know what that is, but take that for what you will.
Yeah, I expect they would, and you could pair them together, but it would be odd, wouldn't it? I mean, unless you were just buying this because you missed out on the original one and you didn't want to pay the current aftermarket prices. And they're not a lot different, barring the bits inside, like the chair and the RC trap. From the outside, it's not hugely different. Apart from it's just quite rusty. But it's cool. The original looked amazing, and there's if you go online and have a look, because they posted like 50 photos. I just picked out a few. And some of the detail on it, in the cabin and the seats and the wheel, it's beautiful, amazing, really good, really nice. But it's a big boy. It's probably
I have
twice the length of the DeLorean, probably.
I don't know if I have a picture of it. So I've seen the original in person at
have you?
Frank and Sons.
Cool.
Yeah. Frank and Sons, the iconic like Cali shop that has everything over there. There's a booth there where they sell a lot of hot toys and statues and stuff, and they have the Ecto-1, the original there, and it's huge. They even have it next to some 1/3 scale statues, and it still is huge.
Yeah.
And
how much are they selling it for? Or is it just a display piece?
Like 2,000.
They sell it for double, right?
Yeah, they sell it for I think minimum 2,000. Since it came out. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm actually very interested in this. I might end up.
Oh wow.
I will probably end up getting this too, just because like it falls under that vehicle thing for me. I would love to have all the iconic vehicles, even more than the figures. I think. It just seems cool.
And I suppose.
Yeah, these you can totally have standalone. Like,
And in the kind of realm that you're in now, Eddie, 1,600, 1,700 for a piece is not. It's not expensive, is it? When you're looking at Prime 1 and stuff like that. So
it's in the same realm. It doesn't mean that it's not expensive to me. I still think it's fucking expensive.
No, it is very expensive, but I'm saying that
you're used to it. Yeah,
it's easier to pull the
less
trigger.
shocking.
Yeah, you're used to talking about these big figures.
I think
stuff.
I don't know if people realize like this is bigger than even a normal vehicle. That's why it's so much. This is a hearse, right? Yeah. So this is huge. This is almost like a limo size vehicle, So it's gonna be more than the others. And then another thing that was like an easier pill to swallow as far as the price was Jazz Inc.'s stuff is pretty pricey, just because they're smaller and the things that they have to do to get the return on investment for them. So I have the Batman Forever Batmobile in order, and that one was $1,500.
Yeah,
which is also a bigger Batmobile than the rest, I think. And so this is around that area, so it's not that shocking to me. And I don't want to miss out on something like this with all the light up. And I actually like the RC car. This movie was a very good movie to me. I love this movie a lot. So.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Yeah, it had a really lot of nice.
Damn, maybe I should buy it. Because I was asking you, should I get it digital for $9.99?
Oh, it's a great movie. It's really nostalgic. It's got it's got a lot of sort of sentimentality if you're a fan of the original and everything.
Yeah,
and,
which
obviously,
I was.
a nice kind of homage to Harold Ramis. And really sad that Ivan Reitman's obviously died. Last week, but at least he got to see his son's movie come out and how well it was received and everything. So it was quite nice. That obviously he lived to see that, so that was good. But it's it's a great movie, Danny. Definitely worth $10 if that's what it costs you to order it. So really cool. Yeah, that'd be a fairly sweet vehicle selection you're working on there, Eddie.
Exactly.
DeLorean, Ecto.
That's what I was gonna say.
Batmobile.
Someone had asked a question like, this is gonna maybe make people have to choose between the DeLorean and the Ecto-1, like, because of each one has a high price point, so it's now you're kind of stuck into like, can I afford to get both? And then Joie from Third Party Reviews was also talking to me about they're coming out around the same time too, so you may end up having to get hit with both of those payments at the same time. So you have a choice to make here, I guess.
Yeah, and it's interesting because did Sideshow carry the first one?
I think so.
I think they did.
Because obviously the problem we have here in the UK is obviously the shipping. Because obviously with you guys, if Sideshow sell it, then obviously they're probably putting some markup on the front end, but at least you know that you're you're not paying a fortune in shipping. Whereas I don't know that many of the UK, Andre says that Big Chief Studios are selling the original for 2,500. Well, Big Chief Studios are notoriously quite expensive, but it's that worry that a lot of the UK retailers didn't stock it because they didn't want to stump up the price it would cost to ship it in and things like that, and then having to pass that on to the customers. So
that's gonna be a big box. Because I remember watching. Remember King Zachary? He did an unboxing of the first version.
Oh, okay.
And that thing was like, I'd say almost like maybe 2/3 the size of a full refrigerator box.
Yeah. The box is huge. I mean, I was surprised how massive the box was for the '89 Batmobile. I barely got it in my car with the seats down. It was huge. I moved that on because the vehicle, I didn't have room to display it, but the box was mental. So I can only imagine what the box for this was like.
Yeah. Shipping's going to be expensive.
Yeah. I think that's an issue for us small island people.
Then you need to find a place to store it.
Yeah.
Just in case you sell it and move it.
Yeah. I guess this isn't a good picture, but it's behind me. You can see it right here. It's behind me. And then there's a...
Oh, yeah.
That's a 1/3 statue on top of it that's huge. And look at how big it looks compared to that 1/3 statue above it. And then those are the 1/6 figures next to it there. So you see how that thing is like the size of like a fold-out table or something, you know?
Yeah.
It's huge, man.
It's huge.
Someone had asked in the comments, it seemed like the DeLorean came out of the blue, and if they knew that the Blitzway was going to release, and that's why they put theirs out first. I don't know if that... I mean, it does seem coincidental, but I don't know if
it does
that's
seem
why.
Coincidental. But who knows? Could be. Like you're saying, that they're two franchises that, if you're a fan of one, you're probably a fan of both. Both came out. The original movie was within a year of each other, 84 and 85. Maybe, or it just could be pure coincidence, which happens, in this media and in films and what have you. It just happens every now and again. But
if you guys had the choice, would you get this one or the original? Since the original is like obviously the original, so.
Well, I haven't seen this movie yet, so I have to go with original. Until I see this movie, then I might change.
I'd rather have the original, but obviously, if you're talking about paying what the original goes for now, or buying this one at retail, then that's a different question. But for me, it would always be the original. But this is still a great movie.
Out of nostalgic, the original. But even though I have not seen the new movie, just looking at the paintwork on this looks visually amazing.
Yeah, I love the weathering.
And all the weathering and the rust and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it does look amazing.
The suicide door.
Yep.
Just looks cool.
It's cool. It's very cool. But I wouldn't. I mean, I say if I couldn't fit the '89 Batmobile into my collection, then this was definite no-go.
Are you not?
I do love it.
Are you not one of those guys, Pete, that would buy something because you love it and then like just store it until you could display it, or it has to be able to fit out in the collection?
No, I like to. I don't think I'm in my forever home. I'm very lucky to have this room for my collection, but it also serves as a. I got a projector last year, so obviously I had to keep one wall completely
open.
Bare. To project onto and stuff. So I just physically haven't got any more space, which is good because it kind of keeps the collection in check. Although I did manage to sneak those extra shelves in, so that gave me a bit of leeway. But as I say, at the moment the DeLorean's just sitting on the shipper box that the Falcon cockpit came in, just for the meantime. But I need to find it a permanent home. But obviously I've got the Falcon cockpit as well, which is massive, and that's on a shelf just in front of me there. So I think for vehicles or that sort of thing, that's kind of my lot, those two. But I do love this. I mean, say if money and space was no object, then I'd definitely have one of these.
Yeah.
In my collection, yeah. Okay. So next we have the infamous Dark Star, which is remind me what his real name is in Endgame.
Jeez, I can't even remember.
Cole Obsidian?
That's him. The big guy. The one of Thanos' bitches. Right, so there's a bit of we've got down as £220 Q2 2022, and both sites I've looked at 16 Kit and others, it's listed at $370, but when you guys talked about it on CW, Zach was saying it was like $200, and I thought that doesn't sound right because it's massive.
Right.
And I know that the dark side was over $300 as well, so I'm not sure where that figure came from. But as far as I can see, it's $360, which is about £220. So
I always go off of KG Hobby if I can't find it anywhere else, and they have it for $254. So
okay, because they add shipping on, don't they? Onto that, but
yeah.
But yeah, it looks okay. I think it's quite cool that you can almost get the whole. Was they the Black Order, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
They've done all but one, have they? Is it, or have they done all of them now? These third parties.
They've done all of them now.
Yeah.
Unless they haven't done the dude with the spear yet, because I know they did. They did the one that looks like Squidward or whenever the Tony Stark makes fun of him. They've done him. They did the Proxima Midnight.
Yeah.
I thought that they did the other guy already. The guy with the spear.
They've done the because there's
Great.
the one with the spear and there's the.
I gotta look at it.
Yeah.
It's like right.
Clave.
Clave.
They've definitely done 4.
Clave is Clay?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
Clave is
that.
Clay?
Clave is it's that's close though, Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if
can
he's
picture
been
it.
done yet. Yeah.
He's probably the coolest looking one out of all of them.
Yeah.
Corvus Clave, that's it.
That's it.
Corvus Glaive.
Econ.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I guess this guy completes the line if you're collecting. I think it looks pretty good. Not something that I'm collecting. And that axe of his is huge.
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah. Either you guys collecting Marvel, or is that a done thing?
That's a done thing for me.
Yeah. Well, I've just got back into it with those couple of Spider-Man and Marvels.
Oh, yeah.
But that'll be it. I did have Avengers stuff, but I moved all that on.
I'm trying to move mine on.
So, yeah.
It is cool though, because I think a lot of people were, or at least what I saw on YouTube and stuff, people were getting the Iron Studios versions of these guys just to have them in the collection somewhere. And so, some of these releases have been better than others, but at least you have an option to complete that team with Thanos.
Yeah, I thought cool. I think it was the Corvus Glaive one. I thought the figure looked alright. It was just the cloak that was really ropey.
Yeah.
Because it was just like a thin bit of material with kind of like just printed on, rather than any sort of texture or anything to it. And that's the thing with these as well. I feel like it's obviously all plastic. It's a big lump of plastic, and is it going to feel like a premium product, or is it just going to be like a big Marvel Legends or something like that?
That's what I was thinking, like a Rotocast figure.
Yeah,
it probably will feel that way.
Yeah,
you're getting it for like 200 under what Hot Toys would charge for it, though.
Exactly, and you know, Hot Toys aren't going to touch this, so
yeah.
I think it's good. We always say on this show that I don't have a problem with third-party stuff where they're making stuff that nobody's going to make. I don't think anybody's losing out on rights or anything because nobody else would touch them, and in a lot of ways they complement the licensed figures, because if you can get these guys to go with your Thanos, you may be more likely to buy a Thanos from Hot Toys or what have you. So I don't think they do any harm, particularly when it's characters like this and you've not got an actor's license or anything that's, you could say they're missing out on money. And to be honest, you know, Ryan Reynolds has made 20 million for his latest movie. Is he really bothered?
Yeah.
If someone makes a figure of him, it wouldn't be bothering me. So yeah, it's a funny one. But I think that the third party stuff's really good at the moment, and so Toys are easily the pick of the bunch at the moment. I think they're knocking out some really good stuff. And again, it's kind of like there's nothing that I really want to buy some of their stuff. And there's a few where I almost bought the Green Menace, and actually kind of thinking of trying to get one now that I've got the Spideys there, because he'll look really cool there. The classic Goblin. But their stuffs look really good, and that was it the Cajun card dealer?
Yeah,
that looks amazing.
That's a great figure, and already they're selling for crazy prices. So yeah, they're definitely.
I kind of knew that was gonna happen, because I remember when it first came out, there was only they solicited, it was only like a limited amount.
Yeah, 300,
right.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So I was like, this is gonna sell out instantly, and people are gonna be paying double this afterwards.
But I could see them doing it again, because they did the Night Vigilante as a limited figure. It's like that black suit version of Daredevil from the Netflix series.
Yeah.
They marketed that as limited, and then they recently put it back up for order. So I don't know how that works. Maybe they're saying like this run is only 300. I don't know.
Those tricksters.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. And then we've got this is an interesting one. This is the War Story Immortal Hero. Due for release Q3 2022 for £205. So this is obviously an unlicensed Spawn figure. I'd seen some things saying that they'd been taken down and stuff, but it appears you can still order it, because obviously Todd won't be too happy about this. You guys, I don't really know a lot about Spawn, so whether you guys can talk some more about this figure and kind of what it's based on, and
Danny might know more than any of us.
Yeah,
because he's the comic guy.
I read the comics like from issues 1 to 10, but it's like one of the longest running independent comics, I guess. Yeah, that and I believe Savage Dragon are the longest ones.
Yeah, when he hit 300, wasn't that like a record or something?
Okay.
Yeah.
And but I remember watching the movie in the 2000s, like early 2000s.
Yeah, I think I said
this totally reminds me of that.
Yeah, it does.
Mixed in with kind of like the comic, like even the cape looks very much like the CGI look of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it looks amazing, but the only thing is the scale or the size. It just looks too big.
It's huge, man.
Yeah,
like I understand he's got a hero. He should have hero proportions, or like he should be maybe a head taller than everyone else. But geez, he's almost double. It seems like.
Yeah, because Zach had a slide on CW, and he looks about 9-10 feet tall, doesn't he? Compared to
unless that happens in the comics after I stop reading.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, like he was always.
My only experience of Spawn is I had some of the back in the day when I sort of first started collecting stuff in the 90s and that McFarlane was putting out quite a lot of the Spawn figures, and I didn't really know a lot about him, but they were like cool as like a medieval Spawn and things like that. And so I had a few of the figures, but and I think I saw the film, but I never really got into him.
It's a very forgettable film. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it was cool for the time.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but it's forgettable. Quinn was saying they could have included a better gun and or sword. Yeah, the sword is cool. The gun is cool, but he has like several different like kind of like cable guns, just like big, crazy looking weapons, and maybe some more green plasma effects would be cool, and a couple more hands maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit bare bones, isn't it? It's not
because it's so damn big. They probably were like, you're getting a lot of figure, less accessories, but I agree with Danny. I think
the chains are an accessory there, and they've made a massive window with the chains in there.
To cover up that whole blank.
Yeah, it's quite funny because that was always the thing with people used to love with those McFarlane, because all the Spawn, they all had real metal chains.
Yeah, it was real.
Like, wow, that's so cool. And maybe they're harking back to that, but it's obviously a lot more usual in this scale and in these days. But
Quinn is saying whenever he had guns, he usually had a pair. You didn't see him with a sword very often, and they could have used a hamburger head. That would have been cool to see. Definitely, there's a ton of accessories they could have done.
What's
switch
the hamburger
out
head?
Because he's basically like Deadpool. He's all burnt up underneath, and
right,
because how he died in an explosion or fire or something, and then there's another head where his head was wasn't it like blown in half, Danny, and so he had it stitched back up down the middle, so he has like stitches down the middle of it.
Cool.
That was after my.
I think it was
comics.
I think it was Batman that like blew his head up in half or something. He threw a batarang at him, the batarang exploded and blew his head in half, so he stitched it back up.
But I do kind of remember his powers so he made a deal with the devil to come back to life. So they gave him, he has like unlimited powers, but it's a countdown. So that's why he uses a lot of guns and weapons. Because every time he uses his powers, it's pretty much, it goes, he has like, let's say, I'm just throwing out a number, like his power is at 1,000. So if he uses like, like let's say he takes out a mountain by like a blast out of his hand or whatever, or his eyes, that'll bring him down to like 900 and so on.
Okay. Yeah,
so that's why he always relied on weapons, because he didn't want to. I guess when he got to 0, he goes back to the devil or something.
To being dead, and he becomes the devil's.
Unless they changed it in the comics, but from what I remember, that was his power set.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks okay, but as you say, the scaling might be a bit off.
And also, I'm not sure if is the cape wired. Do you think?
I would hope.
Because that was the big thing about the comic. He always McFarlane went crazy with the cape, and that was what was the cool aspect of it.
Yeah, I think it needs to be.
Does he fly because of the cape, or was that just like the movie thing? Because that's how he traveled in the movie. Was Oh, okay.
But then they took
the movie,
took powers,
the cape would just like, kind of like how Sandman would travel. Like he turned into a big cloud of sand, and he would like travel around. Like, that's how in the movie his cape would turn into this giant bellowing thing, and that's how he traveled around the sky, as like the cape.
Okay.
So yeah, I would hope it would be wired. Was it really a big thing for McFarlane? Is that why a lot of people took it down? Because the thing is like he holds on to this license so tightly because he wants to do everything. He wants to put it all out himself, and but you have never done a 1/6. He's doing those 12-inch statues now, and it's like there's a whole ton of things. What does John like this? There's a whole bunch of meat on the bone. He's leaving meat on the bone here for everything. It's like, it's gonna happen more and more if you don't start putting this stuff out.
Yeah, I don't know why some of them took it down, and whether it was anything or whether that's just what people assume.
But I can see him.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I could definitely see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if he gets a hold of, oh, this guy is making money off of my license, then he's gonna be like, yeah, take that shit down, bro. I can totally see that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, so yeah, next up we've got the Org Toys Gurney Halleck from the recent June movie. Due out Q1 2023, £192. So yeah, this guy, they solicited Paul Atreides a few months ago. So this is kind of the second figure in this line. This is it Josh Brolin as Gurney. Looks okay. I think the likeness is not quite there.
Close enough that you do kind of see it a little bit.
Yeah, you know.
But
who
you
it
can make it out.
Yeah. And like as you guys said on CW, you know, the armor is really nice. The weathering's really good. I wasn't a massive fan of the film, and that's not to say that it's not a really good, really well-made film, and and it's kind of world building. It just didn't grab me in the way that I hoped it would. But as I say, that's to take nothing away from the production and the scope and stuff. And obviously, once we get the second part, I think it'll come together better.
That's the same with me. Like, I'm not invested in it yet. I need to see the other two films before I can jump into a line, like get a collectible. But from what I've seen so far, it looks pretty good. Like, definitely the accessories, the outfit. The only thing is the head sculpt's maybe 80% there, 75%.
Yeah. What do you think, Eddie? Is it something that you'd be? We were just saying that neither of us fell in love with the movie, and not really kind of at the point of wanting to delve into any figures from this. What's your take on it? Yeah.
Well, I think I have a problem. Like, when I watch something and like it, like I immediately want stuff from it because of hype.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
So if
I can get that way.
If these were released right after I had watched it, I might have pre-ordered it just because of that. Because I did go out and get the McFarlane figures really quick, but they were all on sale, so that helped.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper, a lot smaller investment.
Yeah. But after letting it sit for a minute, I probably wouldn't, just because I don't think anything. This is a very good movie. I think it's a very cool movie. I won't say that the first movie is amazing, but like the effects and everything.
Visual.
It's visually very entertaining.
Yeah.
So, and the characters is a great cast. Like, they got Brolin and they got Momoa and Chalamet and Oscar Isaac and all these guys. So, I think that after all of the movies are released, I think there may be more demand for more figures. But as right now, I don't think that it's popular enough to pre-order these right now. Especially this guy, he's cool because of who he is. Like, Brolin, it's a cool character, and he's sort of like the general, like the main general for their army, and kind of like the trainer that's teaching Timothy Chalamet or Paul Atreides like how to fight and everything. So he is like a very cool character, but you don't really see him do much in the film. So I don't see like there being a ton of demand for this unless people were buying this basically from the old movie and like from the books or whatever. They like this character. That's why I think people may be attracted to this. But for me, no, I wouldn't get it right now.
No. I know Zach's a massive fan, and he's into them. But I think for me, like I was saying to Danny, when that visually and like the world it created and everything was great, but I just didn't entertain me in the way that I kind of liked it to. But again, that's going to come down to the other parts really. Once as a whole, it'll probably work better than kind of what we saw, which was not a lot of action. It was a lot of build up and
a lot of build up, a lot of story,
and
getting you into the story.
So there's obviously better to come, and it may.
I'm intrigued, but I want to see more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. And then we've got a really boring one. I don't really know where we've got it on. It's the B Toys 1/6 scale Roger action figure, £80 Q3 2022. So it's basically Steve Rogers in a leather suit, a leather jacket and trousers.
When I saw this, I didn't even like remember when he. This seems like something Tony would wear. I didn't remember him wearing like an all black outfit.
No.
Do you know what movie?
Yeah, that's why I didn't know.
No.
The only thing I can think of is, was it The Party at the penthouse? Like
That's
Stark penthouse?
Very well could be that one.
That's the only thing I can think of.
That might be what it is.
But
yeah, I don't know. The shoes, maybe. Now that you say that, maybe that's why he's wearing those dress shoes.
Yeah.
Just a weird one. That people are still.
So is this a complete set with the sculpt?
I think
head
so.
Sculpt?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, it blurred the head out. It looks a bit like Kurt Russell on the left there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know too much about it, actually, to be honest. I assume it's a full figure, but then what you're getting really, it's a bit boring. And if none of us can actually remember him wearing that, then I think that says a lot about.
Yeah.
Oh, Danny might be right.
So,
I found a picture of him. It doesn't, but I found a picture of him like wearing a leather jacket and a black shirt. So
there we go.
It says Age of Ultron on it. So
yeah, that's probably it.
Maybe that's what it was from.
There we go.
I guess.
Well, that's because everyone's
Close
still
enough.
collecting figures from Age of Ultron. It's an odd one,
but how they selling? Well, I've never even heard of this figure. This is the first time I've ever seen this. Like if they blur out the face, like, you know what I mean? Or do they just expect you to buy it because of the clothing set, and then you pop on the?
I don't think you get
the second sculpt from Hot Toys.
Is that why they think they've done that? It's just the body and the suit maybe, and you just stick your unmasked head on. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah.
I think
Make
that's
more
what it is,
sense. Yeah.
Because that means this has to be cheap then.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
If
someone's
gonna
I
wanna
say what's
invest.
$100.
Yeah.
But so far the outfit looks nice.
Yeah, I might get the outfit.
Yeah.
For like other figures.
Yeah, if it's a decent quality jacket, it might be useful for other stuff.
It's definitely a nice use to that spare head sculpt that normally people would just leave in the box.
Yeah. And the head sculpt in the end game was really good.
Yeah.
So I kind of quite like it when people put it on these like a military outfit. That always looks pretty good. But yeah, again, I'm so out of Marvel Avengers stuff now that it just makes me smile that there's still so much kind of stuff coming out for those movies. Even the fact that Hot Toys still haven't quite finished their line yet. I think they've got one more figure maybe to come out. So Zach's telling me to bring my gain up. Or Andy was just really loud. So anyway, moving on. Yeah, so we've got a few figures from Troy, which is quite an old movie as well. So we've got basically two versions of Achilles, Brad Pitt. We've got this is from how do we say this? Hey You Toys. We've got a clean version and a bloody version, both due out Q2 2022 for £150. I don't think it's too bad. I mean, the hair is pretty crazy, but then he's always, you're going to have him with the helmet on anyway. I don't think it's too bad. It's and there's not a lot between the two.
That sculpt looks bad. The other one looks better.
It does. That
like it looks close to the Brad Pitt, like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
This one looks like almost Mel Gibson, like a bad Mel Gibson.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I don't know whether it's just the angle because the jaw on this one looks too wide.
Or maybe that's the cousin, the Patroclus.
That's that's funny. It could be.
Yeah.
The helmet looks a little wide.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it should be like tapered in a little more towards the bottom. I don't think it was that open. That's the only thing that like stands out to me immediately, other than the likeness. But yeah, the likeness I don't think matters that much because you're gonna have the helmet on him. I mean, it would be nice to have a great likeness because then you could do the unhelmeted. But
yeah. Do you think that's just a logistical issue though? Because obviously, if it's not two head sculpts and it's a helmet that you put on and off, then obviously you couldn't have it too tight at the bottom because you wouldn't be able to get it.
I mean, I would probably tighten it. I don't know what material this is made out of because of the last one. I had the other third-party one that came out there, and everything was die-cast, and the helmet was die-cast.
Yeah.
But either way, I would probably like pinch that together because it would look better for me, and I'll never take the helmet off of the one head or the head anyway. So.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. If it's plastic, you can do a bit.
Yeah.
Of,
the base is really cool.
Yep.
That's a really cool, like, detailed base that the other one that came out didn't have a base, so that's cool.
Yeah. I don't think it's too bad. I think it's okay. And then to go with it, we've got Troy. We've got was it Hector?
Yeah.
Hector, yeah.
Yeah, so the Trojan warrior. And we've got two of these. So we've got kind of the companion piece from Hey You Toys, same release window, Q2 2022, £150. I think it looks pretty good.
This sculpt looks more spot on.
Yeah. Shame they don't show us one without the helmet on.
Right.
I'm sure there are other ones around, but that looks quite cool. But then there's another one from SYY Toys, and it looks dreadful compared to.
See, that's the one that I had the Achilles from, the SYY Toys.
Yeah.
And their head sculpt wasn't much better for the Achilles either, so I don't expect them to nail his likeness at all.
No. So that one's a little bit cheaper. About £130 in Q3 2022. But I think of the two, I'm liking the look of the Hey You Toys one much better.
Yeah.
This one, the details look better.
Yeah.
On everything.
I mean, maybe that.
Even this one, the sculpt, it looks like Eric Bana, but like a Marvel Legends version.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's probably slightly more Eric Bana in there.
But it looks like him though too. You know what I mean?
It does.
Yeah.
Maybe more than this, but it's difficult to see because we haven't got one without the mask. But I just think
this as a whole just seems better.
The quality of the armor and the cloak and everything looks better. I mean, the shield's completely different. I don't know if he has two different shields or.
Yeah.
I don't know the movie enough really. I did see it a couple of times, back in the day, but it's not one that I've revisited.
I love this movie too.
Yeah. I watch it almost every year.
Oh, right, okay.
I visit it almost every year.
Oh, you guys are much better placed to talk about this than me then, because I've not seen him for a while.
The only thing that sucks is you guys are right. The Hey You Toys looks better, but the other one is when he's fighting Achilles.
Right.
So,
okay.
I mean, they're probably cheap enough to where you could buy both and just use the different outfit if you wanted to.
Yeah, because he's got a different sword as well there, hasn't he? By the looks of it.
Yeah, he even has the cloak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I don't remember the shields being different, but they don't really have shields for very long when they're fighting each other, so that doesn't matter that much to me. But because
this one's got this cool cutout where he's got that kind of fighting style where the spear comes through the gap, isn't it?
Yeah. And the SYY Toys one that I got, everything was die-cast, like everything, even the boots.
Yeah.
And the boots didn't need to be die-cast, but I think they made them that way because the rest of the armor weighed the figure down, so maybe they made the boots heavy to support it. But so I'm guessing this Hector will have fully die-cast accessories,
Okay. It's an interesting choice to make if you're in the market for that character.
But it's like you said earlier with Andy, this probably needs a Fison body. The other one came with a shitty body, like a generic $10 body or whatever. And
I mean,
it'll
I just noticed the
upgrade
helmet's a little different. Like this one, it's like that one's like a ponytail tied up.
Yeah.
Do you see how it has like that?
Yeah, it's not got the
this one just looks like it
Oh,
hangs
yeah.
down.
It hasn't got that high point on it. Yeah.
Maybe he did wear a different helmet in different parts.
Well, you'll have to watch it again, Danny, and
I'll pay attention this next time. This
yeah.
I watch.
Yeah, but and like the shin greaves, whatever you call them, they look really short on this guy, whereas on this one they're almost over his knees. But again, that might be that he's got two different outfits. I don't know it well enough to.
Someone, I think Robbie Rocketfinger says almost like Ray Liotta. I think he was talking about the
this
Achilles.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
That does look like Ray Liotta.
Yep, it does. The blood effect looks good on it.
Yeah.
The blood spatter on the armor looks cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Because he does get a lot of blood on him when he takes the beach of...
yeah.
I forgot what beach that is.
But it'd be interesting to see whether it is a different sculpt or whether it's just... You wouldn't think it would be, would you?
They seem to put these figures out a lot. Because I've always been tempted every time I see a release.
I've only seen a couple.
I've seen a few, it seems like, of both.
Yeah.
Not as much as Hector, but definitely the Brad Pitt, the Achilles.
Yeah.
I've seen like
it has
maybe
been done
this is probably the third or fourth I've seen.
A couple of times, yeah. Yeah, I've seen them.
Every time I get tempted too.
As I say, it's not something that I'm into enough to buy the figures. But I do like as a whole I do like kind of historical armored figures and stuff like that, especially if they've got a lot of metal parts, because
that's the thing.
They
Anything
are cool.
armored, I'm a sucker for.
Yeah, definitely. And I see I'm like a member of one of the it's like 1/6 medieval and historical figures, and you see some great stuff on there. I love all the Coup models stuff, and I've got one of the the armored knights, and they are fantastic. And again, if space and money wasn't an issue, I'd have a load of those, because they're just really nicely done. So pretty cool. And what else we got? Okay, so we've got this just came up today, which is the So Toys The Last Sun Returns, which is the Brandon Routh Kingdom Come Superman, which was from the was it Infinite Crisis? Yeah, the TV show, which I haven't seen any of it, so I don't really know. I think it looks pretty cool. I like the Kingdom Come version of Superman. I quite like Brandon Routh, so it would be something that I would possibly order. As I was saying earlier about So Toys, and wanted to order something from them. But what do you guys think? Did you see the TV show with him in, or?
I do remember, but I remember watching it, but I can't remember the details of it.
He was a bit forgettable, was he then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the whole series. I just when I heard they were doing the Infinite Crisis like crossover stuff, I watched all the clips on YouTube, like all the episodes.
Oh, okay, because I was going to watch
because I wanted to see.
Yeah,
I wanted to see the old actors come back from their different versions of Superman. Like I actually enjoy this film, Superman Returns, with.
Yeah, I did
with him. So
yeah,
I was actually tempted with this when I saw it, even though I didn't see the Crisis version of it. I just like him. I thought he was a good pick for Superman.
I did. I thought he was good, and obviously Hot Toys did make a figure of him way back in the day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did. Quite an early one, probably. When did the film come out? I don't know the year of the film, but 2006, something like that.
2000.
So
early,
I think the figure was 2007, 2008. So it wasn't a great likeness. The body wasn't great, but it used to go for quite a lot of money. Yeah, it used to go for quite a lot of like silly money. People trying to get hold of that, but it doesn't. I don't think it really holds up, kind of by today's figures. But I do like this. I think the head sculpt's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I would
seeing
possibly
them
be
do
tempted with.
seeing them do this has me hopeful that they might do other crossover stuff, because I'm trying to get a Tom Welling Superman together, like a Clark Kent version. And if they did like a plain version of him in a what does he wear, the fucking just the basic jeans and the
like
the
a
flannel?
check shirt.
flannel, the flannel
Yeah.
overshirts. If they did did one of those, damn, I'd be set,
I
because
think they might.
Ian's painting 2 heads for me right now.
Oh,
from
cool.
Watto, two
nice.
Tom Welling heads. So
Dude, he does a
If they
great
did
job.
that-
He did Superman, like an Alex Ross Superman and a Punisher for me.
oh yeah,
Top work, Ian.
yeah,
Oh,
I know.
cool.
I'm
What-
excited
what,
to see him do those. So
what Alex? You got an Alex Ross 1/6?
Yeah.
Have you done it?
You want me to pull out right now?
Yeah, definitely. I love Alex Ross's work. I've been looking
one-
at comics with covers that he's done,
yeah,
because you guys got me into this whole.
Oh,
I would
they
like
got
to have
everybody.
one slabbed comic, I think, and cool. So who made the suit?
This is the Tony May one.
Nice.
You familiar with Tony May?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's that on a M34?
M34 or M35, I forgot.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
I went with the one Tony recommended.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
yeah, it
Yeah.
looks really good.
But yeah,
that's great.
Ian, like you can even see the pinks of like the edges of his eyes. Like, dude, Ian goes to great details when he does his
Yeah.
paint work.
I love the size of the S shield on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I
Like,
like
Tony
that.
makes the best like superhero
Yeah.
outfits.
Yeah,
Like,
I've been
everything's
tempted
form-fitted,
so many times. I've messaged him and
but it's
I haven't-
expensive. That's the thing.
Yeah. And I haven't pulled the trigger because he does. Like,
And a long time to get.
was the head sculpt one of his as well?
Yeah, that was his
Yeah.
one of his printed.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this one. The boots look pretty good on this.
Yeah, they do. They do. Because I've got a kit bashed. I've got the. What have I got? I've got the sideshow Superman they brought out a few years ago.
Yeah.
I've got that suit on a M34 with a knockoff Christopher Reeve head, and I know it's not actually. No, it's a custom suit. I've got was from I forget who made it. And that's really nice. But I would like.
I think you should. Is that one like on a flight stand, like hanging off the?
It was.
off a-
Yeah, it was
shelf?
way back. It was. Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, I
he's-
remember
he's standing
seeing
there,
pictures you should of that.
Yeah.
That looks amazing.
Yeah, I forget who made that suit. Yeah, that was quite a nice suit actually. And they custom made some boots as well, which was more accurate to the original. But I do. Yeah, I would like to get an Alex Ross one at some point. But yeah.
Yeah,
as
he's
you
my
say, it's,
iconic comic guy, comic Superman, I guess.
Yeah, his stuff. I love his artwork. It's brilliant. Got both his books, the Marvelology and the DC one as well.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Yeah, fantastic. I like all paintings, aren't they? They're just stunning. But yeah, I like this. I haven't got a price on this yet, or when it's due, but I might be tempted to buy this one. It's
Is the symbol on the chest accurate to how it was? I don't know if it's the show or the comic, but is it accurate or?
I forgot about the show, but in the comic, it's kind of close.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah.
Because it looks more like a Z to me than an
Yeah.
S. Or like a
Yeah,
7 even.
Like you
It
don't
is
see
like
the
that.
bottom part of the S on this as much. Like
Yeah,
the
you
emphasis is
don't.
on the top and the middle.
That's why it feels
Seems
like
like-
a 7 to me or something, you know?
Yeah, it needs like a slightly thicker bit in the
Yeah.
bottom piece,
Yeah.
maybe. But it's close. It's the Kingdom Come emblem is definitely less of an S than the classic, but I see what you mean. It might be a bit off, but it looks good.
Yeah. It looks better
Quite
to
like
me.
that.
It looks better than the what is it? The Omnimint? Omnipotent.
Oh yeah,
whatever.
Omnipotent Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The suit forms the body better on this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That one's just too baggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just noticed too the texturing. It kind of has like a. Isn't that the same kind of like Man of Steel texturing?
Yeah, it looks like
it.
Yeah.
The sort of what is it, Hologon or whatever the fuck. The little.
Well, he even had that on his Superman Returns movie too. It was like a
hectagon.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it was like a little texture in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I remember I liked that movie, but I haven't seen that in a long time. I just remember thinking it was cast well.
Dude,
who's the original?
His Clark Kent was really good.
Who's the original Lex Luthor? The actor? He's probably the best Lex Luthor ever. But
Gene Hackman?
Gene Hackman.
He was amazing. But I thought if anybody could be as good as him, it was Kevin Spacey. I know, now, there may be some controversy there, but I thought he would be a great Lex Luthor.
You know who I still think is the best Lex? Is the Smallville guy.
Oh, he was great too. Well, I mean, I'm always going to be biased towards Michael Rosenbaum, but he was really good.
The thing I liked about Superman Returns, it was made to be a direct sequel to the Christopher Reeve movies, and it was kind of shot in that same. It had that kind of grand feel to it, and
that was Bryan Singer, right?
It was really good. Yeah, I think so. But the opening scene with the plane and everything's
it was
fantastic, really good. So yeah, I liked Brandon Routh. I thought he was really good. It's a shame that for whatever reason it obviously didn't turn into more Superman movies. But might give this one a look. And then we had a couple of teasers from Sideshow. From their Clint Eastwood Legacy collection, we've got the Man with No Name and Dirty Harry. Look pretty good. Dirty Harry looks good. Man with No Name, it's a bit difficult to make out. The head sculpt doesn't look great from what I can see. But it's a figure that a lot of people want. There's been a lot of expensive customs. There's been the Redman and the iMini-Me versions and things like that. So it'll be popular if they can do a decent job of it.
Don't you
Dirty
have
Harry,
one piece together, Pete? Don't you have
No, I don't, because I'm not. I quite like them, but I'm not religious about them. I'm not obsessed with the spaghetti westerns. I don't mind them, and I've seen them all, and I enjoy them. But and I've always said that I want one really good cowboy figure in my collection. But I don't know. I'm not emotionally attached to this character or look, so I haven't gone down that road. But I know a lot of people are kind of keen on this character.
I think Dean's excited.
Yeah,
for what they're gonna do with it. So
yeah, I hope they do well. But as we know with Sideshow, it's always a bit hit and miss as to how that head sculpt's going to turn out. I don't have a worry for the rest of it, but it's all about that head sculpt. The Dirty Harry one looks better.
Yeah, Dirty Harry is pretty spot on.
Yeah, that looks
from what I remember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I would want. I'm hoping they touch the William Munny because that's probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people have said that. Yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What movie is that one, Danny?
The Unforgiven.
Unforgiven.
Oh,
his last
that's
one.
movie of the week.
Yeah.
Right.
I think so.
Oh, is it?
I think it is. We have Danny picked it, and we had it like officially.
It's on HBO Max,
but it's available for everybody. So
who picked the Dark Fate film? Because everyone hated it.
Oh,
that was John.
John picked it, but why?
And he hated it. He didn't even finish it.
Because he had never saw it. Pete,
oh right.
So he wanted
That's
to watch
ridiculous, though. Like he didn't even bother watching the whole thing. I'm just thinking like it was universally hated, and I don't know why. I assumed that you just nominated films that like you personally had a love for, and you kind of wanted to
I don't.
That's what I thought too.
Share it with other people, not just like I haven't seen this, so let's watch this.
I purposely
Let's
don't
all
pick stuff
suffer.
that I have a love for anymore
You
because
picked
I don't
Princess
want it
Bride,
shit
didn't
on.
you?
Yeah, I know, but I don't want people to shit on movies that I love, so I don't pick the ones I love anymore.
No,
Like that.
no.
But yeah, he just hadn't seen it, and I know John. It's funny because John's the guy who does the IMDb like scores and the Rotten Tomato scores and all this stuff when we do the
Run times. Yeah.
Yeah, when we do it, and I don't think he actually looks at movie reviews though, like before he watches them. So it's funny that he's the one that's always naming those off when we do it. But yeah, there was definitely some controversy on that movie of the week.
Yeah. I haven't
do you
seen
like
it.
that, Peter?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, and I don't really want to. I after listening to you guys talk about it, I've watched the first 3 minutes, which is apparently the only bit that was any good, and that was it. No, I don't. I've never been the biggest Terminator fan, to be honest. I don't mind the first two. I got to the point where I'd watched the first one so many times when I was a teenager that I kind of just couldn't watch it anymore. And T2 was at the time was huge and an epic movie and stuff, but I don't mind it, and if it's on TV I'd probably sit and watch it, but it's not one that I kind of would actively seek out to watch. And I'm a big Arnie fan, but I like a lot of his other characters more than the Terminator. But great movies.
That's kind of the cool thing about the movie is you kind of get you get Arnold when he's older. Like I guess if the T-800 had never been destroyed or died, you kind of get to see Arnold later.
Mm-hmm.
See what it would have been like if he had lived.
Was he alright in the movie,
maybe.
or was he?
It shows it goes. He comes back because it's fucking Terminator. So future. He comes again back from the future, and then it shows him living out his life later on, like as if he had never been destroyed. So you kind of get to see old Arnold and like what it would have been like if he hadn't have died, I guess.
But he wasn't enough to save the movie.
No, not enough for me anyway.
No.
Yeah.
Or Linda Hamilton either, because that
Linda Hamilton
thing,
is still badass in it. It's the premise
Yeah.
of the movie that pisses me off. So, but Linda Hamilton. I mean, she still killed it in there. She's still a badass, and it is cool to see Arnold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, you guys, you like these? They look pretty good. But again, it's
Someone was saying in the comments that so Punisher XS says the poncho is the wrong color and there's no weathering, which looks like he's never been on a horse. It's a good point there.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's not a good start if they can't even get the color of the poncho right.
Yeah.
Because that's a massive iconic part of that outfit that is different from 99% of cowboys. It's the poncho, isn't it? It's his signature look.
Yeah. It's funny, I never seen any of these like early on Clint Eastwood movies. The one Clint Eastwood figure I would want is Gran Torino, and I don't think that would get made into a figure, so because he's a bit of a racist dude in that movie. So
Well, also,
I don't see
it's
them
a kind
doing
of
that
plain
version of
figure
him.
too.
Yeah.
Unless he comes with the
Gran
Gran
grumpy
Torino.
old guy. Yeah.
That'd be another 1/6 vehicle I'd have to get.
I know, that'd be
If
perfect.
you've not seen them, Eddie, they're great movies.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I'm not interested in still having characters for having the characters on my shelf. But
Would you guys? I never knew that actor was his son, the dude from
Scott.
Pacific Rim 2. And
I think it's.
I don't know
Scott
he's on a bunch of stuff, but I just know immediately off the top of my head Pacific Rim 2, but
He was
I
also
didn't know
in
that was
Suicide
his son.
Squad.
Yeah, he was.
Like very small role.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know, and he looks just like him, like when he was young. So
Yeah.
they could do like a remake of this movie and then cast him as the main character, and I think it would be perfect, you know. But he looks just like him. It's crazy. It's like looking into a mirror. I want to see what his actual name is, but because I don't think Eastwood is his last name.
No, it is.
Oh, it is. It is Scott Eastwood.
Scott Eastwood.
Yeah.
Who was in Suicide Squad?
He was just a background, one of the soldiers.
Okay.
Or the prison guards, or
the second one, or the first.
The first one.
Okay.
Like, I think he only was shown in the beginning when they were in the prison, when they're gathering the squad together. Like, he was one of the.
In that. He's in that Wrath of Man movie, that new Jason Statham. I wanted to say the name correctly because
he's done a few westerns. I know that. Like, not big, you know, like, I guess it was straight to video or straight to digital.
That's funny. Big Fern said it's weird seeing Eddie and Danny stream with sunlight in their rooms.
I know.
Yeah.
I've had people say that to
is
me
funny.
before, yeah.
Normally way past dark. So that was it for all the coming soon. It's just again time to say thank you to our sponsors, Backdrops and Bases, and I'm just going to play a little video.
Backdrops and bases displays are printed directly to substrate on foam display board using UV matte inks, so there is no fade or glare. The nameplates are precision etched using their in-house laser machine. They offer a very bespoke service designing displays and nameplates to your requirements. You can contact Backdrops and Bases via their Facebook page, Backdrops and Bases.
Yep, so again, thanks to Dean and Kevin at Backdrops and Bases. I've dropped the link in the chat there if you want to check out their stuff and see what they might have to offer. Right, I need to play this first.
Shenanigans! 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 What?
Okay, good shenanigans. We touched on this earlier when we were talking about the DeLorean. So the big issue that this solicitation has and that people have jumped on is the position of the wheels when it's in flight mode. So obviously the three images, the two on the left and the one top middle, are the Hot Toys photos, and then I've grabbed a couple of images from the movie. So the top right is from the end of Back to the Future, and the one bottom and right is from Back to the Future 2. So obviously it's clear to see that when the wheels fold down in the movie, they barely go below the level of the chassis of the car, whereas obviously on the Hot Toys one, the entirety of the width of the tyre sits below the chassis, and obviously looks a bit weird when compared to the movie version. So what do you guys think? I mean, obviously it's a debate about the function of those wheels, because obviously we assume that these wheels actually do flip and just become the normal wheels, and that they're not obviously swap out pieces, which would because I don't know whether or not there's an issue with getting a real world mechanism to recreate the look from the movies, and if that is the case, would it not have been better to have separate swap out parts for the sake of having a fairly complex mechanism that is possibly liable to break at some point, and it gives you a not very movie accurate look when in that mode? What's your take on it? I know, Eddie, you were quite kind of passionate about saying that we should speak out and let our feelings known to Hot Toys, because it's quite a massive. It's not a small difference. It's quite huge. And
well, what I wanted to ask you about it was, as someone who's been collecting for a long time and been collecting Hot Toys for a long time, and kind of know their track record on prototype to finished production pieces.
Yeah.
Do you think that there is a good chance that this will be fixed by the time a production piece is released, or you think it'll probably make it from prototype to production like this?
So I don't know. It's difficult to know, isn't it? Why have they done it like this? Is it because clearly they must look at a lot of footage and stills, because they there's obviously most of it is incredibly accurate, and the one I've got is it purely the fact that they've come up with a way of the wheels folding so that you don't have swap out parts, but that there's some reason why the way they work in the movie isn't actually physically mechanically possible, and it's obviously done in post-production, or that obviously if this is a model, that the wheels don't actually, we see them move. I don't know, it's a difficult one. I would imagine that this is how it's going to come, because it's a pretty glaring, it's not that anyone would have not noticed it and then suddenly gone, oh, hang on, that's a bit odd. It's very glaring. So I think it's how they've had to do it to get them to actually flip out, and unless they're going to change it and have interchangeable pieces, I don't see how they could fix it.
Or if there's
and all the ones and all the customs I've seen where people have done it a bit like this, that they do seem to sit
lower
down.
Because I don't think there's any way they could have done it if, I don't even know how to explain the way I think they could have done it, but it would all have to be, there would have to be a piece inside the undercarriage of the wheel, like that's all part of that entire area where the wheel is. It would have to like flip like the whole piece inside. There would have to be like an inside like ball sort of thing that would flip with the wheel as
exactly, because if
and
you
then
look
it would stay flush with the.
Because if you look at the Hot Toys one, then obviously that's a straight kind of 90-degree bend. So the bottom of where that side of that wheel is where the wheel will sit. Whereas obviously with the still top right there, you couldn't just fold those wheels upwards, because they wouldn't fit within the arches. So it's like they flip and then they go up. So I don't think you can do that. I don't think it's possible to do that by having them as folding wheels. So the question is, would you prefer to have? I think I'd prefer to have swap out parts, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
All right, that's a novelty. That's quite nice to say that it does that, but you're not going to be. I think you're going to display it one way or the other.
Where would the swap out take place? Like,
well, you just have, the wheels would just be on an axle, the normal wheels.
And just plug.
You just pull them off and then just plug these in. They just have they'd have all the mechanism there, and you just slot them in. I think I'd prefer that.
Because it would almost seem like, in order to get it completely flush, like the way it is in the bottom right, you would need a peg on the bottom of the wheel that would peg in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think you'd have swap out. So you'd have a flat wheel with a like a 90-degree bit that clipped onto the axles.
Okay.
I think I'd prefer that if I was buying one, because then you'd have a movie accurate look whichever way you went. And I don't think it's like a transformer. Right? They do.
That's probably why they. That's probably why it was harder to do a switch out like that.
Yeah, possibly.
Unless there would have been, like with USB anyway. If they're doing a USB light up and they need it to wire all the way through, unless it was batteries, they couldn't just do a switch out like that. It had to be batteries for each wheel.
You could have, I suppose you could have, You could do it. You could have
an adapter or something at the end of it.
Well, yeah, but you could have terminals in the
yes,
kind of like statues.
Yeah,
like with
yeah.
the
So
saber,
when
the
the normal
hands.
wheels go on, they're not doing anything. But when you clip these in, then they'd make a connection with the. So you could do it.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, and it's not like a transformer. It's not something you're going to be, flipping them backwards and forwards, because obviously you would run the risk of breaking the wires with the lights in on those wheels as well. So I don't know. I think if they're going to stick with this, that they actually flip, I can't see that they can change it.
The fact that you said Transformers, the engineering is possible to have it fold in, because Transformers toys does do it, where they fold the wheels into when they're in their robot mode.
Yeah,
but
I think.
But then again, it'd have to be re-engineered by the time for production, I guess.
I think the joints themselves bug me more than the fact that the wheels sit down.
right.
The joints are ugly.
Yeah, yeah, and you're seeing a lot more of it than you
Yeah.
would obviously see in the movie with when the wheels are kind of halfway into the wheel arches. You're not really seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So the question I got, like, if you bought this, would you leave it on this display, or would you just leave it in the car mode?
The problem is, Danny, is are you buying it as a DeLorean because you haven't got one, or are you buying it as a Part 2? Because if you're buying it as a Part 2, you really want it in hover mode, don't you?
Yeah. I don't know. This might bother me enough that I just keep
it
it in
would.
car mode.
It would do, and I'm not saying that if you haven't got one and you want a DeLorean, then I'm not saying it's a bad thing to buy it and have it on its wheels, but obviously the biggest difference with this version is it can fly, and to have that, maybe it doesn't bother some people, but
roads.
yeah, exactly, and that's one of the best scenes in any movie when it does that, and you could say some people aren't going to be bothered, but it's not.
Does bother.
It's not a handful of change. It's a lot of money,
Yeah.
and it just looks odd.
It's ugly. They need to fix it. They need to fix it. Even if they weren't going to be bothered, that doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be fixed.
No,
I still get it, and I probably will overlook it, but that doesn't mean that it's right that way, or like it's still $800, $900, whatever after shipping, and it needs to be fixed, and I think the only way it'll get fixed is if we complain about it. Complain in a what is it, constructive way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I think it'd be interesting to see what if Hot Toys did reach out and say whether it was a purely a technical issue that's the only way they could do it. I don't know, but I'd prefer swap out, because I know that Yoast at some point was talking about doing a conversion kit for the original. So obviously, if he did that, that would involve, because you can take the wheels off. I've never done it, but you can just I think you can take a cap off and you can just unscrew them. So obviously, if he did a conversion kit, it would just be the hover wheels would just slot in. Over the axle, which is obviously how they could have done it.
So the
here.
original, the wheel can come off easily?
Yeah, it can come off, yeah. I've never taken them off on mine, but you can take them off because a lot of people take them off to put the decals on for the the writing on the tyres.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it propping the car up. So they do come off, which obviously, so, Yoast was saying that he could do a conversion kit, which obviously would just be essentially be the wheels and the Mr. Fusion element of it. But because some people, there had been some customizers that done them, but it was really expensive.
I think it's funny that we get these situations, and then, like, I don't know, I'm gonna break John's rule. Oh no, I'm not, because I'm not on somebody else's channel. I'm on our channel, so I think it's funny that, like, people will complain about like the Fison material or the silicone material on a figure, right? And then Justin will protect or defend Hot Toys by saying they try to make it as movie accurate as possible, and that's why they use these materials. But then you get a case like this where it's like, this is so far from movie accurate because of the way it looks. So I would think that Howard would want to fix those joints just as much as anybody else to get it to as movie accurate as possible, because that's what he's about. That's his number one thing, is getting something on the shelf.
How's this got past him then to this point?
That's what I'm saying. How does this something like this get past him?
Yeah.
When that's his number one thing, is he wants it to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And it's quite an obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I hope it gets fixed by the time they release it. I don't think I mean, the only time I've ever noticed anything really get fixed is the Mark 85, and that was only because people were in such outrage about it.
Didn't actually fix it, did they? They just gave a separate head.
Yeah.
So they didn't do it within the time frame of its release. I suppose the only way that it is for people not to order it and wait and see whether they do anything. But if people are smashing that pre-order button, then they're probably not going to worry about it.
Definitely, yeah. This is a huge
But if
company.
you don't pre-order though,
pre-order.
What if they make a lower amount? You know what I mean?
Well, they're gonna make. Well, the companies are still pre-ordering it for you, aren't they? Like Big Bad is still ordering like however many they're ordering, and then I don't know if it works the same way for Sideshow, if they get an allotted amount, probably, but they're ordering a ton of them, and then whatever other company is ordering from them, so they still have to make a good amount, right?
Yeah.
But not, I mean, like compared to like a figure. You know what I mean? A figure, I can see them just putting out a blank amount of figures always, like a set amount. But this is like a vehicle. Not everyone's gonna get a vehicle.
That's why I think, maybe pre-order it, but that's why I think it's such a big thing that people need to come out and say like, this looks bad.
Yeah.
They just need to not say it in a way that's like, you should kill yourselves. Like you did with the 85. Don't
exactly.
Don't get all, it's still a toy. It's nothing to get over crazy, but they need to tell them, look, fix the wheels. Everybody, even YouTubers, people like us need to say, fix the wheels. And, I don't think it's a bad thing that we're saying that.
No, I don't. I think we all want, the most accurate things we can have. And obviously with that sort of money, you would expect that. So it'd be at least interesting to know if there's a good reason why they're like that. Why are they like that? And why do they feel that that's the way it should go out?
Every time I see the wheels like that, I don't know if in the UK people steal rims, but in the US, people steal rims and then they'll just leave the car on blocks. That's what it looks like.
It does. Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah. I get you. It does.
Like
every
time I look at it, that's what I'm visioning, kind of like, someone stole the wheels.
Bricks. Someone needs to Photoshop it with a pile of bricks under each corner.
Mark
I know what you mean.
Mark is saying it's far enough away to where if you want to pre-order it, but wait until you hear about them fixing the wheels, you can do that, which is good. But that's only going to happen. They're only going to come out with a statement immediately about fixing the wheels as if they get the feedback immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of feedback on the groups and stuff, but obviously I don't know whether Hot Toys take any notice of that, and I don't know that they're particularly.
I hope they do.
Whether they're particularly kind of receptive to.
Oh wow, Big Bad's already sold out.
Wow.
Oh wow.
If you email her directly, whether they take much notice of that or not, I don't know. I've never tried it, but
I don't know either. I was gonna say maybe when we were looking at it earlier, I was gonna say, well, the base has it propped up at an angle, so maybe at the angle, the wheels don't look as bad, but it still looks bad.
Yeah,
it still.
But as you say, you're seeing a lot of this clunky
Yeah.
mechanism, which you shouldn't really be.
Yeah.
And they also, they stick out too far as well. Because like on here, on the movie one, more than half of that height of that wheel is inside frame of the car, whereas these are, they stick out more as well.
Even if keep doing it this way, and even if it had a sort of Iron Man like drop hip kind of a deal where you could push the joint higher.
Yeah,
that's what I would think. It needs a hinge or something. Just to, or a
that
swivel,
would work too, and you could still keep
Yeah.
it the same way you have it. Just have that hinge drop up or something, drop down. I don't know.
Anyway, we shall.
I don't know if that interferes with if there's any wiring to the light.
That's what I'm thinking. Is the wiring is what makes.
Yeah,
it
that's
way.
probably going to come into any sort of explanation for it. But well, we'll wait to see what, if anything. I don't think it's. If I wanted it, if I didn't have the other one and I wanted it, I don't know that it would be a deal breaker, because, as you say, Danny, at the end of the day, you could just have it wheels down, and it would look fantastic. But obviously, I think the ISP of this is that it's a hover conversion, and
I think I'm with Eddie. If I really wanted it, I'd still get it just to
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I think so.
You don't know who else is gonna make one,
But I hope they would fix it.
Yeah, well, we can hope. Okay, so the other thing, I don't expect anyone to be able to read this because it's tiny, but I just stuck it in. So there was a lot of stuff blown up on the groups, Facebook groups today from Toys Buying Agent. I don't know if you guys have ever ordered anything from.
Yeah, Tim sent.
Tim sent, yeah. So obviously he launched the website Toys Buying Agent. I buy most of my stuff through him, direct from Hong Kong. Good prices. They normally come within week to 10 days to the UK. Normally, I think Spider-Man took 8 days. That's pretty good. So I've been buying stuff from him for years, and I know it's a touchy subject, and some people have very different views on it. But obviously, in general, he'll mark as a low value and a gift on the customs declaration, so that obviously here in the UK, if it was marked at full value, then they would charge us 20% value-added tax on top of that. So on a £200 figure, that would be another £40. So if you buy from Sideshow, that's how that works, and you normally get another £10 handling fee on top of that, which is just bollocks. This is basically Parcel Force, the carrier, saying we've paid the customs on this for you, and as a we'll charge you £10 for the honour of doing that for you. There's a situation where a guy apparently ordered a load of figures from Tim Sent in 4 batches, I think. Denied that any of them turned up, despite tracking saying they've been delivered and things like that. And there's been a whole thing where he's claimed for them from his credit card company, and Tim Sent's been left out of pocket on it, and so he's called him out as a scammer. He's something Tom Humble or something. I've never seen him, but apparently people have seen him on the groups, and he's been kicked out of most of the groups. So the long and short of it is that Tim Sent's quite upset about it, and basically said that because of the nature of obviously marking the values down, that's left him out of pocket or whatever. So that he said that any new UK buyers, they're going to have to show us full value. I don't know whether that's just a kind of a reactionary thing, and whether that will hold true, because my comment there, I asked whether that would apply to existing customers that obviously have a good track record with not lying about figures, not turning up and stuff like that. And he's obviously come back and said, yeah, that's it's not an issue for existing customers, trusted customers, but obviously new customers, it's going to be a bit more wary about who he does that for. So,
I saw a post on it this morning that he had said that the guy saw his posts about him being a scammer, and he got upset about those posts.
He did, and he threatened him.
Yeah, and he threatened to call him out and to like out him on what he's doing for the customers. Yeah,
evasion and stuff. Yeah, and which didn't go down very well. I don't think. I mean, you know, how he's not going to be able to do anything without drawing attention to the fact that he ripped someone off for thousands of pounds worth of figures. So I mean, exactly. You know, it's I know there's always been people like this. There's always there's always the odd bad apple, and there has been.
Yeah.
You know, since I've been collecting, and you know, these people have a limited run where they scam a few people, and they might get a few quid out of people, but you know, that doesn't last long, and people cotton on, and then those people you know, are never gonna be able to deal with people in the community again, because people will remember them, and you burn your bridges. People kind of close ranks on you, and you know, you'll never be trusted again, even if you say, hang on, all right, hands up, I was an arson. But you know, it never pays to kind of make enemies, because it may well be that Grail figure that you want comes up at great price, and that person says, actually, I'm not going to sell to you because I've heard that you're a bit, you know, dodgy. And sometimes those things are thrown out and they're not right, and but so it's not a nice thing to do. But it's just interesting to because obviously there's always a big debate about whether or not it's the right thing to do, in terms of, you know, not declaring the value and stuff. But I get taxed enough by the UK government.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, it's maybe it isn't morally or whatever, but like, you know, we got to find a way, because we get screwed every other way. So you know, it's like, it is what it is, I guess.
I think the UK is one of the highest taxed countries in the world, but you know, it's different. It's even worse. So the fact that you buy a second-hand figure, they will charge you value-added tax on that. Well, the person that bought it in the first place has paid that in their country.
Exactly. Yep.
And they're making money on money on money, and it's not right. And you know, it's different. It's not the fact. You know, I can't go into a store in the UK and buy that figure. So I'm not stealing money from the UK economy by buying it overseas. That's the only way I can get it. It doesn't. You know, there is no Hot Toys distributor in the UK. You know, so it's a bit like, I feel it's just money for nothing. So I pay my taxes. You know, they take enough from me. I don't have an issue with it. But unfortunately, if people abuse the system, then you know, that these Hong Kong sellers obviously lose a bit of faith, and they're going to be a bit more wary. So, but it was interesting, because you know, Tim Sent's been around a long time, and everyone's you know, always spoke really highly of him, and I've always had a really good service, and just
he's
kind
the
of a bit of a
original
shame.
eBay
Yeah, definitely.
seller, Hot Toy seller. From Secret
and I've never seen any trouble like of this nature to do with him. So it's just a shame that obviously someone did that, and to, you know, quite a large extent as well, not just one or two figures, but quite a lot. So so just be nice to your Hong Kong sellers if you want to get your figures quickly and as cheap as possible, because custom corner, I think I've got this is Ian's favourite one.
Custom corner.
I don't know what he was smoking when he made those things, but they're kind of crazy. So it's just a couple more pics of my my custom Mos Eisley corner that I made for Mando. I think it turned out quite well, really.
There's one thing missing.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it is.
Brand new Vespa.
Oh.
No. Jesus,
I thought you were gonna
hate
say
those things.
Grogu. I was like, oh god.
No, this is pre Grogu. So this is a what if. This is him tracking down Han Solo.
Right.
Kind of New Hope era. So
You might have said it earlier. What did you use to texture everything?
Sand. So
okay.
So I basically just cut two lengths of plywood, and I had a load of leftover wood from when we built a summer house in our garden last year. So I just thought I got the figure in. I had an idea, so I just went out with a saw and cut the panels, the floor piece. So yeah, then basically you just get PVA glue. The stuff that dries clear is it's not particularly, it's not going to stick you together, but it works really well. So I mixed that with some quite coarse sand and gave that a couple of coats on the walls to give it some texture and on the ground. And then I used, you guys know, Fuller's Earth, which is a very fine powder. Like it's what they use in movies to do, like so in Indiana Jones, to get all the dust on his shoulders, they cover him in this Fuller's Earth. So it's kind of like a clean weathering dirt kind of thing. It's very very fine. So then I mixed that up with some white paint and gave the walls like a whitewash. And then I've got there's some old Tusken Raider boots there, and a couple of pouches and bits and pieces. So I just put there. And then just dotted it all with glue and just put some more of this Fuller's Earth on, and then just went on and had a look, found some cool Mos Eisley. Yeah, they're not for movies or anything, but I just thought they were cool. There's one for the modal nodes there. It says where our friends don't like you and we don't like you either. And the one behind him there over in the corner is Kessel Run tours in the Millennium Falcon, the one for visiting the Sarlacc pit, and obviously there's the wanted poster for Han there on the floor.
Nice.
But it was a fun project. It took me a couple of days to do, and I think it just works really well for the figure. And as I say, I've kind of come to the I like this look better. I think it's more that sort of kind of gunslinger western cowboy kind of before he even knew about Grogu and all that. So it's a great figure, really good figure, and I've got the latest one on pre-order, but I might I think I'm going to part that out. Ian's after a few bits and that, so I'll probably part him out because I think it's quite a good one. There's a lot of stuff comes with it. With the head sculpts and stuff, so I think it's quite a good one for parting out and making a few quid on. So because I think people will want to buy the chrome armor set if they've got the one before, So and then they've got the head sculpt. You've got a different Grogu and all that sort of thing. So so I'm gonna keep that order and part him out and keep this one. But yeah, it's a cool figure. I'm late to the party, but I do like this look. That was that. I think that was it for custom corner. No, I have one more thing. This beast.
Oh.
So this was solicited a couple of days ago. So this is a custom Wampa statue from Inbox Studio. They're based in Thailand. So this is £170 plus postage, which postage to the UK is £100. So it's a lot, but for £270, it's fully furred. It's 18 inches tall. You get the swap out arm. Well, you get an arm that you can take on or off and put a section in. I think it's really cool. I've always wanted a Wampa, and there's other people that have made custom ones, but they've been a lot more expensive than this. And these guys have you seen the Bantha that they made?
Oh yeah, I saw it.
It's huge.
I don't think I have.
It's huge, and it's a really good price. I think that's only like $300 or something and it's massive. But and I wouldn't have room for one of those. But I've got a little one. I've got a Hoth display with Luke and Han on the Tauntaun, so this guy would just go really well. So I'm attempting to buy one, but they've sent me the deposit invoice, and every time I try to pay it, PayPal says there was an error. Try again later. So I don't know if it's a problem with PayPal or a problem with the invoice. But so it's due out September, October. It's limited to 100 pieces because they put a grid out and they were letting people pick what number they wanted. I went with number 12 because that was the lowest number that was left when I saw it. I'm hoping to sort that out, but I don't know why the invoice isn't working. So, but yeah, there's a few guys in the Ian Seaby's gonna get one, I think, and
I bet he is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's got a Tauntaun too.
Yeah. I mean, Ian thinks this is a bit overpriced, but I don't think so. Not for
what was the price on it again?
So it's £170, so it's $230 plus whatever postage is to your country. It's in Thailand, so I imagine it'd be similar to the US. So you're looking at £270.
There was another custom that just came up.
Yeah, and that's about €500.
Yeah,
that one.
500,
so that's
I think they're only making 16 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean it is posable, and this isn't, but I can justify this price, but not.
Yeah.
Not.
I think this is a great price for 1/6 scale Wampa. That's
and it's 18
huge.
inches tall, and I think it looks great. Hopefully I will have one pre-ordered soon if I can sort out why I can't pay this, because I keep badgering because I said
this one has the arm slice off option.
Yeah, which is cool. Because they sent me an invoice to start with for the full amount. I said, I don't really want to pay the full amount. Can I have and there was a bit of backwards and forwards, and I felt like they thought I was being naggy. But I was like, well, I just want to pay the deposit. So they sent it to me, but I can't pay it. But if worse comes to worse, I can just ping it to their PayPal address. But I think it's cool, and it's only 100 pieces, so it's gonna it's gonna go up.
You pick your number.
Yeah, they let you pick your number. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I went with number 12 because that was the already when I saw it, like 1 to 10 had gone, and that was probably just to like people they knew and stuff like that. So I just picked 12 because it was the lowest. So I've still got 12
80 for the movie.
I suppose so. Yeah, because my invoice says number 12 on it, so they've obviously allocated me one. So it's not a problem, but.
Danny,
I'll get it sorted, but
you have a 1/6 Wampa on order, right?
Yeah, I have mine's a statue, though.
Like fully sculpted, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sculpted.
Who makes that one?
How much was yours?
That one, I think when it's all done, it's gonna be 900.
Ooh,
that's why I was like, this is a great price.
Yeah, this is a great price, and it looks good. I mean, the fur looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't mind real fur, then yeah,
But I mean, I ordered mine almost a year ago. Like if this came up right now, I mean, if this came out a year ago, I probably would have jumped on this.
Yeah. To me, this seems really cheap. I know it's all, but compared to what we're paying for hot toys and stuff now.
It's funny because material doesn't bug me, like real material doesn't bug me that much, but when it's hair it does. Like fur and hair I don't like real.
Okay.
So if it was all sculpted I might be interested in it. I mean, I'm still partly interested, even with the fur, but I don't think I would pull the trigger.
I mean, if the production comes out looking like this, I think it's gonna look good.
I mean, that's the thing. And the Banthas, from what I've seen, they're not actually out yet, but I've seen quite a few of them, and they look exactly like they, solicited. And I think if this is done right, and it's obviously weathered and
I mean, compared to, I've seen some other custom Wampas like that people sell, and and this is way better.
Yeah. I was really impressed. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I want that. So, yeah, a bit of luck that I can get that. I'll try it again after the show, and if not, I'll message him and just say, can I just send it to you to your email address? But yeah, they sent me one for the full amount, and I was like, okay, yeah, I do want it, but I'd rather not pay it all now, just in case. So, so that's cool. And then, film and TV. There wasn't really anything. Everything's kind of come to a finish. I just thought I'd mention this film. Have you guys seen Last Night in Soho?
I've never even heard of it.
I've heard of it. It's
really good.
I saw the trailers for it like in theaters for a while.
So it's by
she's like
Edgar.
seeing her.
Yeah,
her
so it's
life
by
doing
Edgar Wright that did like Shaun of the Dead and stuff like that. But it's
okay.
kind of a horror sort of murder mystery type thing. So this girl moves into this flat and she has visions of like another girl, sort of her age from the 60s, and who appears that she's murdered, and she thinks that she knows who the murderer is. Like he's an old man now and stuff like that. And but it's really good. It's really good. It's got quite a good twist to it. It's got some good cast. It's got Matt Smith in it and bits and pieces. So yeah, it's worth a look. If you, I think you still have to pay to rent it at the moment, but it's a good film. I enjoyed it. So
I really love that actress, Anna Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
She I just recently watched
What else is she
Queen's
in?
Gambit.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, she was really good in that.
Oh, was that her? Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she plays like the girl from the 60s, that she's kind of
which is kind of the same era that she's playing in Queen's Gambit. So
yeah,
I think she has a good look for that kind of era. Yeah.
And this girl's really good. The one that plays the girl in like the modern times. Well, she's really good. I don't know what else she's been in, but I liked her as well. She was pretty good.
Is that? That's not the new girl from Pam and Tommy, is it? I don't know. I have to look it up, but let's see.
I don't think so, because that's isn't that the one from Mamma
I don't know
Mia
what else she's from.
2? Yeah. No, I don't think it's not her, but she's good. So yeah, check it out if you get the opportunity. Okay, right. Does someone want to do this for me, or shall I do it?
I'll do it if you want me to do it, man.
You have the voice to do it. You probably do it the best out of everyone.
I'll do it. Yeah. Okay. So it's that time of show. We'd like to thank all our beautiful angels that are the Patreon members. The reading of this list has reached legendary status recently. Some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen on this network. We have Sean Fear, Ian Seavey, Rene Mendez, Eric Mariscal, Quinn Aguirre, Leah Hernandez, King Louis, Mark Pearson, Paul Schreiber, James Colley, Equan, Chris Fallon-Serena, Ben Thomas, Chris Leddy, David Jones, Sam Gist, The Daminator, Sweet Danny Lee, Deanie Martin, Stephen Krepp, Big Fern, King Zach, Caesar Marroquin, Mike Cruz, Lisa Martin Bomonsky, Rick De Gregorio, Alvin Jules, Beautiful John, the Everyday Collector, Ricardo Valdez, Jose CZ, Erwin Asusina, The Illustrious Rainer, Alid Morgan, Tukathri, Wah, Seth Tucker, CC3PO, Scott Smith, Domaton, Bola Boyd, Jimmy James, Stephen Purchase, Sean Yahtzee, Scott Bradley, Stephen Maria Stanley, Jesse Contreras, Eddie Manzanares, Louis Bennett, Chip Perrin, Jimmy Hernandez, Gigi the Judgmental, and Brenton Palmer.
I'm not gonna lie, Pete scared me a little when he did the Domaton. I kind of jumped in my seat because I was looking away and I was like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, that was John, legend, brilliant. Loved that. So and it was nice that Dom reached out and said that it amused him as well. He was he enjoyed the celebrity status. Also you can support us by becoming a YouTube channel member. I think you get a discount if you're also a Patreon. So we have Mojo Z78, Absolute Irwin, Test Just 1, DK Avenger 702, OMFG Rick, Mike Oxlong, S Beam, Andreas IB, OG Fan, the Penrikers, Mark Pearson, Ben Thomas, Justin Arras, Paul Schreiber, Andrew Gibo, and CC3PA. So again, thanks for that. And there's another good way of supporting the network. So we've got 3 tiers we've got the Sweet Angel tier, which is $5 a month, and gets you a sticker sent straight to your door, as well as access to Ox After Dark replay. Certified Crispy is $15 per month. You get a Certified Crispy certificate on first pledge, sticker, and figure fixes by Zach. Obviously, that's mainly for you guys in the US, but I'm sure UK people could maybe reach out to me or Ian if you need any advice or fixes on figures. And then the top tier, What a Guy. Folks in this tier get a signed Collecting Weekly Live 80x24 silhouette poster on first pledge, doubles all the stickers we send, so you can send them to your friends and family, and all the benefits of the previous tiers. So we're now into we're almost into March next week. So we have 2 new stickers. We have the Pose Wars, which is a great show, very popular at the moment. Some great stuff going on in there. And we've got Dylan. Dylan has finally been immortalised in sticker form with his Chips handlebar moustache. So that's cool. So you can have they're the 2 stickers you'll get for March. We also have TeePublic. So if you, I'm wearing I probably can't, from my Collecting Weekly, my Only Fools and Collecting original logo before our rebrand. But there's loads of different t-shirts in there if you want to get some swag.
Whoa! Look at what is that? Japanese writing?
What's that?
Chinese writing?
Yeah, that was the
we do that
Godzilla
one?
stuff, wasn't it? That's CW, isn't it? That's Collecting Weekly, I think, that one.
Zach always he wears a shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that. I never even seen that one. That's cool.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
It is cool.
Goddamn dog.
Okay, Eddie, do you want to run us through the rest of the network?
Yeah, sure. We have Collecting Weekly Live, Tuesday flagship show. We got that one coming up. Next week, OFAC, you're watching now, every other Thursday, opposite of Small Talk, which is next Thursday. And then we have After Dark, Wednesday nights, where we let our hair down, talk about random whatever is going on. So if you're interested, that's also one of the Patreon exclusives. You get to re-listen to those shows, which usually end up getting pretty rated R or pretty funny.
Especially with Mark's on.
Yeah. We've had all kinds of stuff on there, so check those out. In and Outs of Collecting is now still every other Friday, opposite of Collectors Club. This week we have Collectors Club tomorrow, and then In and Outs will be next week.
Mm-hmm.
The Ringcast. I don't know if there is a date for that this month or yet or not.
No, I don't think we've got a date for the next show yet, have we?
Yeah,
Danny.
That's everything Lord of the Rings happens there. Collecting Weekly live unboxing every Monday night with John. Those are great shows. We unbox everything there, from small scale to comics to prints, all kinds of stuff. Bricks and Brews. It's our once a month Lego build streams. We didn't have one this month. I think we're gonna have one early in March, maybe next week or the week after. Then I mentioned Collectors Club every other Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Live and Let Dice, the D&D streams. We had that last Saturday, right?
Yep.
And is that every Saturday now, or is that every other Saturday?
It's meant to be every other Saturday, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
But they've been going on almost every week, it seems.
Yeah, and it's been killing it too. I heard that last stream was a very entertaining one. Mark joined for that one.
Yeah.
And then Pose Wars, the newest, other than Collectors Club, I guess, to the network, which is taking the world by storm.
Yeah.
That's a very popular stream we got going right now, where everybody battles it out. Seems to get pretty testy in those streams, so check those out.
Yeah, that's cool. Is that are we missing Daminator from the YouTube members? Is that because he was on the
Daminator
Patreon?
just joined the membership the other
I think
day.
he may have an older graphic.
Yeah, he's on the Patreon. I did check to see if there's a more up to date one, but I couldn't find one for the YouTube one. So
I don't think Zach has updated the YouTube member one yet.
No, so apologise for that, Daminator, but yeah, you will be on there on the next
We'll get
show.
on it.
Yep, definitely. And then Eddie, clips,
collecting weekly _clips on Instagram is where you could see all of our funniest moments on each show. John runs that for us, and there is definitely some hilarious videos. So go check that out on Instagram.
Yeah. It's always a good laugh. Yeah, so that's the end of the show. Episode 63. We've gone for 3.5 hours, guys. So
wow,
fantastic show. Yeah,
crazy.
Really enjoyed it. Really, really massive thanks to both of you for joining me and helping me through this one.
Pete, when Gundor calls for aid,
yeah, definitely.
Wow.
And
but I'm glad to have jumped on. This is my first time on the OFAC too. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Yeah. You're welcome anytime.
So I think I've hit every CW now.
Yeah,
officially.
Yeah, I hit After Dark for the first time ever last week because they were still. I don't know if you were on that. I don't know if you the guys were on that one when they were still streaming and when I got into work, so I jumped on for.
Yeah, I do remember that
cool.
one.
That was cool.
Nice.
But I was thinking I'll do it again today. But by the time I got into it was a really short one last night, so it was all done and dusted by the time I got into the office. So I couldn't jump on. But yeah, it's good to get around on the other shows. I've tried to. Yeah. Obviously, it's a bit more difficult for us because we've kind of got a gap at some crazy time in the morning. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys joining me today. So yeah. Thanks a lot for that, and I really enjoyed it. It's great. Andy was great. He was.
Very informative.
It's always good to have him on. So So anyway, guys, thanks a lot. Thank you all to everybody that's watched and listened. Much appreciated, and catch you on the next show. Okay.
Bye. Guys.